Yeah, you know, Brenda got a new book in on coconuts. It's about this naturopath. It's about this guy that lived on coconuts. And back in the day, remember I told you I used to fill my van full of coconuts down in Key West, go trim the trees for them because they just let the coconuts go to waste. I like the golden coconuts. They're to me, I like them better.
What's the name of that one?
This is probably a Thai coconut.
Right.
And outside of that, I don't know what brand kind it is. But there's not even any water in here yet. So it might be too young. You see. Yeah. You know, we'll see how that is. But this is my new paperweight. But anyway, that new book she got in there, and just shows, you know, the lipids. You know, like you're talking about coconut oils and you're talking about hemp oils and stuff. Well, think about the lymph system. It's an oil-based system. That's where your fatty acid, your oils are even absorbed into. Your oils are not absorbed into your blood like some people think when you digest oils. So oils take off in the lymph system. Why? And that comes right back to what side of chemistry does the lymph system have to deal with? Acids. So when the lymph system has to deal with acids, it has to have some brains to back it, some brawn to back it. And water solubles will not back heavy acids. That's why you need an oil. And that's why you see oil so favorable in cancers and every high acidosis situations, because it's anti-inflammatory, anti-acid. So that's why they have so much good effect with it. And then you got the nutritive side of that.
I would even not be upset if I was a castaway on an island.
Oh, no, not at all.
If I were to be stranded on an island, I'd be fine.
If you had bananas and coconuts,
oh my God,
you would never want to leave the island, and you'd be torqued, like, what's his name was, on Castaway, like you said.
Yeah.
You'd be totally torqued, because this concept that it's laxative, it might be somewhat a little bit on people, but your body, just like a high-fruit diet.
That's like your survival kit right there.
Right.
That's survival.
Right. I tell you what, I had a mother one time come to me, and she had a newborn, and I guess he was only about a couple months old. And she was telling me that he was so constipated she had to dig his stool out with a spoon. And the MDs had told her that his GI tract was not completely formed yet, because he was a little preemie or something. And I'm thinking, that's bullshit. You know, so I gave her, I said, listen, this is the thing that'll open him up. And I had a bunch of coconuts, and I gave her I gave the little one some coconut milk while I was there. 20 minutes later, she said he had a normal stool. So that's just the sort of thing, you know, out there. The crap that's out there, but also the good stuff that's out there.
Oh, that was really good.
All right. Good deal. Are we on?
We are rolling.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we are on.
Oh, we are on.
This whole time.
All right.
Hey, let's keep that.
Let's keep that. Yeah, they need no coconuts. Hello, everyone. It's a big pleasure, always, to spend time with each and every one of you. I admire each one of you for grabbing a hold of and breaking through that solidified consciousness of thought and I'm going to take care of myself. And so you know, once you become aware of what's up, then it's a little bit of a job to get yourself well. Some people are spending 24 hours a day just to get themselves well again. And if you have that ability to do that, I recommend you highly do that, that you spend as much time on your own wellness. Because it's a body, but it's your mode of transportation on planet Earth and in the physical universe. So it's nice to have a car that runs good. I was going to show you. We just got our salves in, and I want to show you the difference between our salves and another salve on the market out there. I want to show you, if you can see the richness of that salve. Take a look at that. The richness. That's our heal-all salve, right? I've got a burn, and this burn salve is killer. Killer, killer, killer. Look at the richness of this burn salve. That's rich, baby. That's rich. Now, we don't have the labels for these yet, so it'll be a week or two before we have them available. But boy, these salves, I had them made before, and we had testimony after testimony, and I just love these salves. I have a drawing salve, too, for spider bites, things like that. Ooh. Mangoes.
Take them home.
Golden mangoes?
Yeah.
Ho, 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 ho. I take them. This is a drawing salve that we have. And I want to up the blood group maybe, but this is I don't know how this is going to pull large tumors. I don't know yet. I'll have to see. Excellent for small stuff, and that's what you want. Excellent for the small basils and stuff like that. Good stuff, man. I love good salves. You make a salve right, and that's good stuff. Remember yesterday I was talking to you, you'll get that other video before this one, I was talking to you about Consumer Reports. Some guy said something about medicines and that I didn't have a knowledge of medicines, which is, yeah. But I have a knowledge of herbs. Okay, so Consumer Reports, just got it in, right? Survive your stay at the hospital. See that? And it says medical errors are linked to 440,000 deaths each year. Now, that's just hospitals. When you add it all together, it's well over 1 million. Gary Null, everybody knows Gary Null probably. He's got some books out, more naturopathic thinking, more vitamin crap, that kind of thing. But he does a lot of research on medical errors and stuff, and that the evidence is so huge that if I was the AMA, I would want to treat every naturopath and homeopath nice, because if they ever get sued, this is going to come back to haunt them in a major kind of way. That's not good. Not good. Wouldn't you love to see a naturopathic hospital? I've always wanted to create one of those. Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention, this was on, I just popped up the internet. I was going to go look up something, and this came up. And it's called Business Insider, the 11 most destructive nutrition lies ever told. All right? Now, I don't know who this joker is, no offense. And but my opinions and my First Amendment rights, I'll say this. This guy doesn't know anything about health much. Some of the things. Who is this guy? This guy is Chris Gunnars, Authority Nutrition. Give me a break. You know, this is what people set themselves up for, authorities like this, and they can't heal squat. This guy said one thing, 11 most destructive nutritional lies. Eggs are unhealthy. He says that's a lie. Eggs are healthy for you. Oh, are they really? All right, so let's go and look at some of these things. Saturated fat is bad for you. So now he's saying saturated fat is okay for you. Now, everybody should be eating grains. The idea that humans should be basing their diets on grains has never made sense to me, and that I agree with him. Grains are the bane of our society, but with that said, and one of you guys asked me about grains in a YouTube question here that I pulled here the other day, and I wanted to say, but we have got poverty and we have places all around the world where the only thing we can get to them is grains. So, in one hand, how bad they are. On the other hand, how important this has been. Now, we learn from our mistakes, right? We don't keep following the same grooves, do we? So, now's the time for the world to come together and create these pyramid greenhouses and all these things and start growing fruit trees in deserts. And start having some food for everybody that'll keep them healthy instead of clog their bowels and get them even a slower death. And it's just sad. Eating a lot of protein is bad for your bones and kidneys. Now, he's debunking that. Eating a lot of protein is bad for your bones and kidneys. He doesn't get that. Let me tell you, people that read this is the problem with people like him that throw out some of this bad information and tries to debunk. Let me tell you, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Why is protein bad for your kidneys? Because it's high phosphorus, and it leaches calcium to get a balance. It'll push out calcium and magnesium. Plus, it's all acidic. It's dead tissue. If it's not an animal protein, then it is a protein that is dormant, that has enzyme inhibitors, high phytic acids like beans, things like this. Totally bad for your kidneys. Totally bad. All proteins rip the GI tract. Study after study after study has proved that protein is linked to colon cancers and kidney failure. And for this guy to come and say that on the news is just sickening when you have so many people in trouble and now they're going to think maybe they should have proteins. It's okay. This guy hasn't a clue. And that's a sad thing. A high-protein diet is associated with improved bone health and a lower risk of fracture. He doesn't know what he's talking about. High protein also lowers blood pressure and improves diabetes symptoms. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You actually eat a high protein. Matter of fact, we were just, I don't know if I read it to you guys, but there was just another study showing that high protein diets throw people into diabetes. Why? All right? Kidneys. And the kidneys then, what's on top of them? The adrenal glands. So when the kidneys go, so does the appendage, the adrenal glands. And it's called, there's the sugar metabolism, there's the autonomic nervous system, there's the mineral utilization, there's the gonadal steroids, there's all these things. And to make statements like this is a sickening, because high protein leads to high blood pressure big time. What happens if people have high blood pressure? They're on these high protein diets. We take them off the proteins. Guess what happens to the blood pressure? So this guy has no clinical experience. If he does, I don't know. I think he's steeping in his own ego, because this is ridiculous. Low-fat foods are good for you. That's a myth. You should eat many small meals throughout the day. That's a myth. The idea that you should eat many small meals throughout the day in order to keep metabolism high is a persistent myth that doesn't make any sense. Well, he's trying to go by what he thinks. You have so many people that can't digest properly. It never makes sense. And if you watch the animals, they never gorge. You got cows and horses that constantly eat, but they constantly poop. It's like a factory down there. But look at the primates. They don't overeat. They have small amounts. They eat slowly. They eat over a period of time. I mean, to sit there and think that a bigger meal at any given time is better for you than, say, 2 smaller meals is ridiculous. Because, I grant that you've got digestive times and everything else, but we're not talking about grains, and we're not talking about proteins, and we're not talking about the very hard to digest foods. We're talking about a fruit, berry, and melon diet. Now, vegetables, you got a little bit of a problem because they need time to digest in humans. And half of them are not even very well digestible. So that might be a little bit of an issue with that. But outside of that, it is always better. You'll feel more energy. You'll feel better. How many people eat a big meal and sit there and here's where your attention is? Here's where your consciousness is right in your gut. They're sitting there, digesting and dying. Those that have pancreatic or hepatic liver problems, they're going to sit there for hours. So smaller meals, more often, better. Not that 20 meals a day, but common sense. So, I see this kind of crap all the time. And this is how myths get started, by people like this who doesn't have any clinical experience, have experience of pulling people and regenerating people from decrepit and insane levels. Carbs should be your biggest source of calories. The mainstream view is, and that's a lie. The mainstream view is that everyone should eat a low-fat diet with carbs being around 50 to 60% of total calories. I disagree. I think carbs should be 80 or 90% of your diet. Why? Because that's your source of fuel. That's your source of nutrition. Carbohydrates, fruits, berries, melons, salads. What's this guy thinking about? He doesn't get it. Now, you put starch in place of carbohydrates, now you have a legitimate complaint. But not carbohydrates, not your main food. Carbohydrates are the main food for man. How omega 6 seed and vegetable oils are good for you. I don't know how I feel about that. That's why I'm not even going to waste my time reading it. Sugar is unhealthy because it contains empty calories. It is commonly believed that sugar is bad for you because it contains empty calories. It's true sugar has a lot of calories with no essential nutrients, but that is just the tip of the iceberg. A sugar is a closed unit. A sugar is not supposed to have a bunch of nutrition because it is nutrition. It is part of nutrition, is sugar. Simple sugars, galactose in milk, glucose in vegetables, fructose in fruits. That is your sugar. So calories, this is frill. This is carbon. You see, people's minds are warped and turned in directions that are not serving man well. So man keeps stumbling over idiocy like this all the time. There's not supposed to be nutrition in sugars. They're part of the nutritional whole that a carbohydrate has. Fructose is just a small amount of what a fruit has in it in terms of nutrition. Flavonoids, astringents, coumarins, some tannins, few other constituents just loaded with them. Minerals and vitamins, I mean, it's just like, this is like crazy stuff. And here's he goes off on high fructose again. I mean, this is, I find stuff like this revolting. And exactly why man is consistently uneducated. You've just got so many friggin' ideas like this out there. Baseless opinions, baseless. I mean, most of us are, at least a lot of the old guys were chemists. And a lot of the old guys were medical doctors. And they tore this whole thing apart big time. We've torn it apart. Someone like that can't hold a tea to someone that knows about the chemistry of foods and things. This guy doesn't have a clue. But this is the sort of thing. Don't be pulled into things like this. And people that write things like this. Be strong in what you know to be true. You all are getting well. And be strong with your knowledge of that. Granted, we have unripe fruit. That's a big bad problem, no question about it. Look at the difference for those that have ever had tropical fruit or really good organic fruit raised properly and picked ripe. Look at the difference. Look at the difference between a vine-ripe pineapple and one bought green in the store and then allowed to ferment to look like it's ripe. You know, so there are problems with that. There's no question. Someone sent this in. Asking me about this. And this is René Quinton's marine plasma. And they use it as a health thing. I thought a lot about this because there's all types of plasmas. And there's similarities between plasmas. Similarities between blood plasma and seawater. There's similarities of all plasmas, but they're all different. So I think that it's off point to say that you're going to go use marine plasma to invigorate the human body because you're still trapped in a treatment-based problem. Plasma is built out of chemistry, and chemistry is built out of species, and the unique species has a unique dietary regimen for them. That's just how God made it. All species do not dine from the same table. So that's the issue here. Is understanding that your plasma is created out of the very existence of being a Homo sapien, of the types of diets. And this is part of what we look at. And also take a look at the differences of how these plasmas are maintained by the type of diets that you eat. And what happens to blood in a highly acidic diet as opposed to blood under a tropical diet. Huge difference. In those people that do live blood cell analysis, you see huge differences, guys, between a carnivorish or omnivorish diet and a frugivorish diet in terms of blood health and what have you. So let me see. I made a few notes here about that. And I felt that there was, of course, the different plasmas unique to each species. Yeah, I have the same thing here. I think that one has to go into their body and fix it and clean it. Or kind of reverse that, clean it and fix it. And that's not difficult. The body's a self-healer. It loves to clean itself. You're just giving the body the appropriate energy and chemistry. So you could probably use something like this, René's marine plasma, but to be honest with you, messing with chemistry is just not my game. After doing years of hair analysis and all this other chemistry, blood, urine, saliva, I realized you can't mess with God. You can't mess with nature. You can't mess with chemistry because we are on a pinhead to the allness of things. And to think man's ego is so there that thinks that, you know, just look at nature, look at man, look at what vertebrae is, look at the foods that vertebrae eats, and it'll take you home. So, and if you don't know that, then just look at what all the fruit diets have done and helped all these people. There's times, and we talked about that yesterday, about a lady that's, you know, that does fruits, her symptoms exacerbate, and that's astringents. That's the active difference between a vegetable and a fruit. Now, there's times where we have to play that game between the two because of the individual's inability to handle a high, energetic, high astringent diet. There's no question. So we have to play that little game, you know, between the fruits and the veggies. Oh, let's see here. This is, no name on this one. Thanks for the good comment there. Please tell us what causes headache, what causes migraines, what actually happens in the body that the pain comes. Well, you know how acids are very corrosive. And of course, when acids are dominating, the body has to deal with that, right? Because if the body can't deal with that, death will eventually occur to the body. Cells, you know, the body. So one of the big acids of the human body is calcium. So as the body gets acidic and you start losing this calcium, or if you have a parathyroid gland and you're highly acidic, or you're a female having babies and you have a parathyroid weakness, this thyroid, the calcium levels go down in the body. And it can also happen with manganese and magnesium. Then you start to see the seizures or the tremors or the spasticity of that. And when you see a headache, you've got spasming going on. Now, frontal headaches are from the stomach. And a lot of headaches originate from the stomach area. And again, this is the seat of the autonomic. You would think that would hit here as a headache. And it's possible. You have thyroid headaches. You have sinus headaches. You have pressure headaches. You've got stomach headaches. All these things. You can tweak the neck and have a headache from that. Spasming of the neurological system. So that's why we use the antispasmodics. But as you turn that medium, that terrain of the body, that nerves and everything else are bathed in, as you move that to a base balance, then that acidosis is removed, the calcium draw is stopped, and fix the parathyroid or whatever, and put that calcium right back. Then all that stops. And we see this particularly with, well, you can go all the way to seizures and things like this, and you see that with mercury a lot. I just talked to a lady yesterday that had severe mercury poisoning, you know, and her lower body feels like it's 250 pounds. It's just these acid metals are corrosive to the nervous system, and mercury and aluminum are two we know of that are corrosive to man's central and autonomic nervous systems. So, but again, we're talking about acids again, and all these are part of this same thing there. So, you know, the whole thing comes back to the same thing you all know is true. You know, you fix your stomach, you fix all these things, you get the acids out, you heal and repair. Headaches are gone, everything's gone. Now, you could have parasitic headaches. I suppose you could probably have fungal headaches. I'm sure that's in there too. Wow, we got a lot of long questions here, and I kind of want to get to more of these. Many thanks for responding to my questions a while back about my husband, who is a C6, C7 tetraplegic. It was very much appreciated, and we are now embarking on the road to Wellville, baby. Yeah, get your husband out of that chair, honey. I mean, I just can't stand to see people in the chairs. It's just, you know. Can you please clarify something for us, though? When you recommend eating fruits, berries, and melons, what are you classifying as fruits? This may sound like a silly question. Not really, because years ago there used to be a National Fruitarian Society, get this, out of Washington, D.C., okay? And their concept of fruits was anything a plant or tree bears. So basically you could consider nuts as fruits. The problem with that, of course, is the high protein contents of these and the complexities of these foods. Of course, they do come with hard shells. Even the coconut comes with an impossible shell. But the nectar's in there. But I think cucumbers, and I think we were talking about this yesterday maybe, not cucumbers, I think peppers are fruits, but then nightshade fruits. Anything a plant or tree bears could be considered that. However, we always try to come up with a classification for vegetable fruits. And I don't know whether we call them green fruits or a name for those. And maybe there already is a name out there. But I like to distinguish those between the tree fruits that we know well. Like even the grape is not from a tree. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. I'll have to say, though, in working with quads and paras, you really want, and you can have some of the cucumbers and stuff. Matter of fact, cucumbers with avocado. I just had guacamole for lunch and used cucumbers as my chips. I love that. And that's a good way to stay raw that way. And I think that'll be good for him. I'd also recommend taking some hemp oil or coconut oil, of course, maybe a teaspoon 3 times a day or something. Some people recommend a tablespoon, but I think a teaspoon, we'll see. But these are all anti-inflammatories. Remember that. These are antacids. This is why people have success with oils. But again, you have to be careful with oils because you can get into ketosis. You can get into other factors with too many oils. So balance is always the key word here, isn't it? But we have found some of what you thought were veggies are actually classified as fruit, as far as cucumber, peppers, avocados, tomatoes. And you could do those. It's just that tomatoes are acidic and always will be. You can get those yellow, orange tomatoes that are not as acidic. Okay. But raw, okay, we can deal with some acids. But when you're down in a chair, I don't recommend that right now. I recommend getting away from the vegetable things. And once in a while, that's a good cheat. Having a guacamole and cucumbers would be a cheat every 3 days for him or something like that. Would be good to keep him going. He's a male in a chair. But you know what? We just had a male. He was a paraplegic. I believe he's now walking well, right? He was standing and walking the last time I talked with him. So that's the key. And the fruits and the berries and the melons are where the power is for that, in my opinion. The blueberries, the blackberries, anything dark purple, high flavonoids, enriching, rebuilding, that sort of thing to the human body, you know. Anything with seeds. Yeah, I mean, we could maybe classify those as fruits, maybe. If you were not detoxifying, then absolutely. Your bill of fare would be different. Your bill of fare would have plenty of avocado probably. You could use cucumbers for chips. You'd get into some of these things. You could have tomatoes in your avocados, you know, all these sort of things. You have some nuts. Again, the trouble with nuts, you know, I put on a lot of weight with nuts. And it's just like, got to be careful with the nuts. A lot of you have already found that out. So you have to be careful with the nuts. Okay, Becky, thanks a lot from the UK. I'm a 21-year-old male who lives in Alaska. Whew. Burr. Did you guys catch Survival Man last night? That was the Bigfoot. Did anybody see the picture that he showed? Now this guy, I like this guy. He's down to earth. And he wanted to sit there and say, listen, all this Bigfoot crap, let's just really take a totally detached look at this. And that's what he did. They went up, they went up and way up. I can't remember where they were. Thought they were up in Canada or Alaska, but I don't know. I can't remember. But they were showing some pictures, and we've all seen pictures of Bigfoot, but this one, I was freaked. It was unbelievable. It wasn't like a black ape or anything like that. This was, I can't even describe it, the look. And they had an incredible picture of that. That was an incredible thing. I have been healthy, or at least I thought, until I turned 20. You know what? When you're 20, you should just start your life and be totally healthy and not even think about physical problems. You know what? And took an acne medicine called Accutane. Boy, is that a repeated story. Oh, I don't know anything about medicine, so we better not talk about Accutane, right? No, bad drug, big time. How many people did Accutane hurt? You know, this just makes me want to throw up. You would never have that with herbs, and if we, you know, you guys know why people have acne. Why doesn't everybody else by now? You know what? This is the 21st century. Within weeks of taking it, I hit severe depression. My hair on my head, eyelashes and eyebrows became falling out. My eyes burned. My body ached. Sounds like no one knew. Those people that know medicines sound like they just didn't know this one, did they? You know, when someone writes something like that to me, I'm going to put it back in your face, man. I mean, this is, you know, this is how bad it is. And this is sad stuff. This is why I do this, because this is sad stuff here. It's a 20-year-old that took a drug that tore him up. And this is repetitive. And there are attorneys. Now you see it on the news, Accutane, so you guys get on board with that. You might get $5. My body ached. I got a super white tongue, can no longer digest foods. Oh my God, my friend. About a month after this happened, I began going through the allopathic will of death. Exactly. And knew in my heart they were all wrong about what was wrong with me. I began researching and found diet to be very important. I have made many changes, but haven't seen any positives from it. I am on the edge of suicide and have been for almost a year. Listen, my friend, I'll help you get that all cleaned out of you. You don't have to be on suicide. I'll get you all kicked up. I'll get your thing kicked up. Want to get in here, you want to get some moonshine yarrow and take it, my friend. Moonshine yarrow. That'll help you love yourself a little bit more. This isn't you. This is the crazy, wacky planet you stopped to visit. So you've just got to remember, it isn't about you, my friend. It's about what you said, the hellishness of the allopathic community. And it's that you just got to change. It just has to change. And if it doesn't, it's like dentists. These old dentists still believe mercury's good for you. Oh my God. After tons of research, they still believe that. Let me see. I eat a 95% fruit diet. My kidneys ache all the time. See, you got to go to the herbs if you can afford it. If you can't, call in here to Jen Willette. But let me tell you something. Get in some herbs. You're going to have to get the herbs to help you here. You want brain and nerve. You want upper circulation. You want kidneys, at least 2 kidney formulas. When you get into the bowels, I would take the pancreatic formula, capsules. 2-3 times a day is what I would do, because you need to start that pancreas up again. Start everything up again. Sounds like this just shut you down. And that's just, that's what I'm saying. Most pharmaceuticals are suppressants. Take a look at them. Take a look at them. Look at inhalers. Look at antibiotics. Look at all these things. And you'll find that a lot of chemical medications are suppressants. They suppress a symptom. Or they shut down calcium channels to suppress tachycardia or whatever. You know, and that's not how life works. That's not how you do it. You don't suppress natural functions of the human body to get rid of a symptom. That's antiquated. That's dark agey. That can't be anymore, right? My kidneys ache. So you're 21 years old, man. So I'm telling you, kidney and adrenals are for sure your lot. I'm just telling you my experience. If you don't, but you do, because you have acne, and that is from the kidneys and adrenals. You might check your thyroid to see if you can sweat, but you want to take some kidney herbs to soothe those kidneys, to get those kidneys filtering, man. I am so embarrassed of my hair. Don't be embarrassed. Put it back. Don't be embarrassed. You were victim. You were victimized. So now you get your joy back. You get your power back, my friend, and get that hair back. Upper circulation. That's why I said that. It'll grow your hair back all over again. Get to it. It'll grow back. You're a young man. All right? What do? I just ordered 10 different herbal formulas. Oh, good. Now, let me help you with those. Upper circ and brain and nerve are 2 very, very important ones. You got to kick your adrenals back up. If your pituitary got shut down, you might have to hit that one. We'll take a look at that. You want to get your kidney formulas, your lymphatic formulas, your bowel formulas. You really start working on your whole body there. And if you don't know what to do with them, call in here, and our staff is here to help you. In hopes of finding we'll get you there. Pull you might want to, of course, I'm so busy I just don't have time to do too many eyes anymore, but I want to take a look at your eyes. I know it is symptomatic acidosis, a systemic acidosis, and that my lymph and my kidneys aren't functioning properly. You're right on, my friend. That's why the acne in the first place. And you're going to see this consistently in the teenagers and the 20-year-olds. And that's problematic because that sets them for a life of hell in all ways. Like this young man, he felt like he didn't want to be here anymore because his body got destroyed with a pharmaceutical that somebody was supposed to know about medicines didn't know. I am going to take 2 kidney formulas, a lymphatic and lymph node formula, the immune system, and endocrine gland formula, and now I'll tell you what, get upper circ and brain and nerve when you can, man. Upper circ and brain and nerve. They'll start putting the hair back, and they'll start getting into the nervous systems and rebuilding them. Please help me. Oh no, I'll help you. You don't have to worry about that. I just recently quit my job to focus on health. Please tell me my hair will come back. It will, my friend. I know it is shallow of me. No, I understand that. But look at all the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds that are balding. Scary? Very scary. and need to escape this mindless, but getting healthy would bring me so much. That's what you got to do, man. Just spend some time. This is your time. Get your joy back. Get your power back. That's why I feed you guys all this information, because you can get your power back with this information. And you stand tall and be a light to the world from this, because you went through hell, but you can come back from that. So we'll get you back from that. I'm trying to lay in bed feeling like a lost cause. Nope, you're not a lost cause. Also, your videos, raw. Thanks, man. I love you, man. I hope to get healthy and be able, you don't have to worry about it. We'll help you get that way all the way. Oh, man. Sad stories, guys. Just sad stories. And I love all of you guys. And everybody will be helped. Get to the Facebook site if you need to. A lot of beautiful people on the Facebook sites. You know, you notice how people that can't follow the ways will spin off, guys. So don't worry about it. People spin off here and there because you can't help it. You know, this is high, powerful information for people, and some just can only take a little bit and it's going to spin off. Okay, good. You know, they'll come back. You know, because this, you can't get away from cleaning and rebuilding your body. You can argue on how, but this is the only way you have to do it. You have to clean and detoxify those bodies of all these chemicals and all these drugs and all this acid and all this lymph. You got to restore the kidney function, adrenal function, all the glands, rebuild the body. That's essential. There's no other methodology right now that is effectual. You know, you don't want to treat. And so work on your health. Clean and restore. People can argue the different ways to do that, but do that is essential. Hi, Doc. Love you. Oh, love you too, man. Oh, Rosanna. Hi, Rosanna. I have an intriguing question. You teach us about isolates. Actually, I stopped all my supplements 3 months ago, and I'm already preaching about it to my friends and so on. All right, now I agree with it. But when I got Visio Plex, I see a lot of items in there. The list is long. I know. Why is that? Well, it isn't my formula, to tell you the truth. And I use Visio Plex when someone has MACD, they're facing extreme loss of vision. I'm going to pull out the guns. I don't make all, these formulas, so I have to take what I can get out there. So I had to take this one as it is. But I was after the bilberries, the eye tissue, all of those things in there. It's unfortunate that these formulas have to have these other things in there. Vitamins, not so much, but minerals, those are much more. Most of the water solubles, big deal. But, I couldn't help it. When I'm about restoring health and vision, whatever I can pull and grab out there, that's what made me make these formulas anyway. It's also what made me make these beautiful salves. The crap that's out there. No offense, but we set the standard. Always do. And, could you clarify why you could recommend a Visio Plex liner with a bunch of stuff in there? Absolutely. Sometimes we got to do, honey, what we got to do to save someone's eye. The trouble is, the best of the best is hard to get. We're always seeking best stuff. So when you guys find something that's really good quality, that's 100% natural, we like to look at it. Because I'd like to help small companies. I had a soap manufacturer, one so good, so natural. They never got back with me, and then they went out of business. I was going to help them. Because I like to become, this club of ours wants to become a one-stop shop for all high-quality stuff. And like I said, we never know when we order something, we get it in and go, oh, it's got this in it. So that's our problem. And so I keep making stuff. I'm going to make a toothpaste that's super good. I'm going to, everything natural. None of this crap. Love your channel and your, oh, thanks. Who's this? I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Yeah, absolutely. That's what this is for. I was speaking with a local natural doctor in my area. Get this, Marcy was just telling me about a naturopath that this lady has a tumor hanging down below her breast wanting to come out, of course. And he said, well, just lance it and stick it back in and sew it up. In my area, and he said he stumbled upon, by accident, a treatment for people, a treatment, keyword, treatment. For people with hair problems such as hair loss and thinning. He was treating some others. If you treat, you can get in serious trouble. Can't treat. Don't use the word treat. Right? Some other condition problems with cold showers, and he noticed that some of his balding clients were growing their hair back and getting thicker. What's your take on that? Is there any truth in that from your perspective? Cold showers? Well, absolutely. Cold showers, I would say only from the point of stimulation. Cold is alkaline. So cold backs up acids. That's the whole thing. When you have inflammation, you don't put heat on inflammation. You don't put heat on acidosis. Are you kidding? You put cold. It's just, heat exacerbates inflammation. Cold cools down. Cold is alkaline. Inflammation is acid. So that's how you play that game, of course. So you could, a lot of people have tried massages and everything else, but you're down into the hair follicles and you're in a whole, the fluid base in the skull. And I thought coldness was alkaline, and wouldn't that help with acidosis? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And would it help with too much dihydrotestosterone? I don't know about that. But being probably on the acid side with testosterone, then, because that's a precursor, so maybe. Can one do well on a blended fruit veggie diet, consuming only smoothies? You could. I mean, look at Babe. I haven't talked to her in a long time. Babe, did you ever stop? I don't know how many days she went on juices, but it was, 3-4 years? So I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. But I do like the fiber. I think man's meant to have fiber. And so I like the fiber of fruits. It's so gentle on man's GI tract, So I personally hate having to eat fruit. Oh, well then blend smoothies, absolutely, or juice, absolutely. I don't like the texture and the quality of the fruit here, and that's too bad. Yeah, that's too bad. You know what? It's too bad when someone has to say that about their own fruit, because let me tell you, tree ripe fruit. Anybody ever had a tree ripe peach? Nirvanic. A tree ripe golden red delicious apple. Oh my God. Even a tree ripe date. I was with Mutt over in France, and they gave me a twig it had one date on there, had been ripe. And at first I was going, what the hell is this, Mutt? And this is a date. Oh my God, that was incredible. We just don't know what that is around the world. And once we do, man's going to be just drooling for it. Let me see. I'm still getting the fiber and yeah, I like smoothies. Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that at all. Shoot, no. Matter of fact, the fact that you're doing all this is great for yourself. Real proud of you guys. Dr. Morris, grapes are too expensive and not that fresh. They're pretty bad. I've been getting these grapes here lately, and they're bitter, and it's just out of season right now. So you try to find whatever you can, and it's easier for me to get hold of organic raisins. I love raisins. I love raisins. If I hydrate the raisins and eat them instead of grapes, will it have the same detoxifying and pulling effect? I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if it's not true. So I'll tell you what. Colleen, go ahead and do that, because hydrated raisins are so good. Try that and let me know. Do 3 days on hydrated raisins and let me know how you feel after you do that. See if you get a lot of mucus out and things. You'll feel the astringent effect. I would say probably lost a little in dehydration, but Dr. Morris, you more than any of the have set me straight on taking care of my body. Oh, thanks, Colleen. Oh, this is the same lady. Thank you. My husband asked me to ask you about water fasting and how the body cannot make its own vitamin C. Well, vitamin C has not ever been the issue. Flavonoids have been the issue. Vitamin C is just ascorbic acid. It's a small piece, just like CoQ10 is a small little antioxidant discharge off the Krebs cycle. So we would go halfway down on the Krebs cycle, we pick up CoQ10, and then we say, hey, sell it to you for mega money, and say, this is an antioxidant, have fun with it. If we work in the treatment-based systems, you'll spend tons of money and you'll just feel a little better. This is about feeling a whole lot better. This is about getting rid of all your symptoms, about dynamicness, vitality, all these things. So vitamin C, you got to get rid of that word, because by itself it becomes antagonistic to calcium. And that's what you don't want. You don't want to take vitamin C, you want the flavonoids. the whole complex, not just the bioflavonoids, but the whole complex. He seems to think it's very important that during a water fast, the body should be getting vitamin C. Now, people water fasted for years, man. I mean, right now, they're down in Costa Rica. What is a 42-day? This guy's helping everybody do 42 days. People are doing 30 days here, 20 days there. No one's ever taken vitamin C during fasting. And there's been more fasting in the past on this planet than there is today, probably. So, no. Could you please answer this question for him? I don't know why he thinks vitamin C is it's not. You need the flavonoid. When you eat your fruits and berries, you're even the flavonoids. Now, that is one active major complex of nutrition. And so bioflavonoids, C's, all that's just encased in that. But when you're fasting, you're fasting. You don't need to add anything in there. You don't need to do that. Vitamin C isn't a essential nutrient. Flavonoids are, in that way. My name is Yam, and I am from Israel. First of all, I want to thank you for, thanks, man. You are changed my life. Thanks, I appreciate that. Well, we're all working together, man. We're all working together to do this, all right? And that's how I feel about it. And I feel you're just as important as everyone else, and all of us are all important as a one. One voice, powerful voice, you know? Thanks so much for that, man. Now, I have a question about gluten. There have been, this is the one, there have been a lot of studies lately criticizing the popular food, from it being the cause of our weight gain to stomach pain. Well, the thing is, the gluten proteins, you know, it's about proteins and about toxicity. As a rule, if you go back, people sustained well on grains, you know, but they are fattening because they're complex sugars. They're diapolysaccharides. So yeah, you know, from that perspective, and particularly if you have weak adrenals and low cortisol levels where you can't metabolize even simple sugars well, you're going to put on some weight there. But as I said earlier, they've been a staple for a lot of countries that have extreme poverty and things. But here's the thing: we need to come up out of that thinking and go into the raw and living. You know, we can't keep sustaining ourselves on starch and on proteins, dead proteins and things like this. It's just there's no life and no return of life to you like that. So that's the biggest deal. Not that they're super toxic, but a lot of it's very mucus forming, and you have to be careful about too much mucus forming. And even whole grains. You know, I put on weight with whole grains, you know, and it's like still acidic, and that's the other problem. Most grains are acidic. So you get into the quinoas, you know, and the millets, but still, if I was going to do a bread, I would definitely do millet bread. I mean, they make a good millet bread. Stomach pains, bad digestion, and even stunt growth. I don't know about stunting growth in children. I don't know about that. People have had grains for a lot of, you know, rice is a staple, all of that. But again, these tend to be on the starchy side. They're not life-promoting. Unless it's living, it's not life-promoting. And if you have to cook the crap out of it to make it tasty, it's not life-promoting. You know? Let's see. I want that good old sticky, gluey oatmeal. Well, I'm going to have some milk on that stuff. Well, I could use almond milk, I guess. I got to have some sugar on that thing. Yeah, some raisins in there. You know what I'm saying? When you eat your food, that's nectar right there. You don't need to do anything to it. You know how many people add sugar to their fruit? I find that funny. Oh my God. Causing malnutrition and inhibiting HDH production. It has been said that up to 50% of the population is gluten intolerant or sensitive because those kind of protein, most proteins are, this is my point, is most proteins are not indigenous and harmonious to the human intestinal tract and digestive tract, and therefore we do have a lot of problems. If these grains are devitalized and white flour, of course they're bad. You know, there's a difference between a whole grain and a white grain, a devitalized grain where the germ's taken out. Oh, we'll sell the germ to the healthy people. We'll sell the outer husk as bran, and then we'll give the rest crap, we'll give all the starch to, you know what I'm saying? So that's the kind of thing grains have been involved in for years. And much better to get thinking of raw fruits, berries, melons, salads, things like that. Is it true, or is it just our poor digestion causing, well, it's a good question about that too, because yes, both ways. But these are complex starches, and I tell you the truth, they're a good cheat maybe, you know, but if you're looking for health and promoting dynamicness, You want the raw. The problem is a lot of countries, and Israel might be one, I don't know, never been to Israel, I'd love that. I don't know what kind of fruit you have access to. Dates, figs, I'm not sure what you have access to. But some places have, that's just the way the nature is. And without even grains, people would be starving to death. So, balance and thinking this out and working. And, just like we're doing now, there's so many people around the world helping to restore deep wells for countries and restore greens and stuff like that. So there's a big effort going on around the world to do it. I just think it should be more, But you have to have people on board and understand the need to do that. By the way, I'm now 60% raw and 50% fruits. Woohoo! Keep up the videos. Thanks. Thanks, Yam. Appreciate it, my friend. Tell all your friends I said hi. This is Mike Post. Hey, Dr. Morse. Hope everything is well. I have a quick question. I noticed that when I start on a 100% fruit diet, that after a couple of days, I get a craving for dark chocolate. This is a good one. Oh, this is good. After a couple of days on fruit, he gets a craving for dark chocolate. Well, I'm not a dark chocolate fan, but there's all these things there, antioxidant rich, and I don't know why. Maybe it could be the candida you're pulling out with the fruit. I don't know. Not so much starch and not meat, just dark chocolate. Well, a little piece now and then can't hurt anybody. Have you ever heard of this before? No, I haven't. What do you think it's called? I'm not sure, other than a fungal thing, but dark chocolate, it could have some nutrients in it. I don't know why. Could previously dark chocolate be getting detoxed? That might be. Remember I told you that one time I was on, I don't know how long I went, this is probably only a 12-day, 15-day water fast, but the third day on the water fast, I start craving Reese's peanut butter cups. And I just put it to the side. The next day, I'm super craving them. I'm super craving Reese's peanut butter cups. Now, I've never been a Reese's peanut butter cup eater. I've had a couple maybe through my earlier years, but never really a lot of them. And so the third day, I'm beyond super craving. I'm a madman. I'm going to stop in a convenience store and grab a packet. I grabbed a packet of 3, and I sucked them down and went on with my water fast and never looked back and never liked them since. So I really think that that's what my thought was at the time, that I was pulling out some toxins from or the mucus that created from maybe something I had when I was a kid or something. So I think you're probably right. There's a lot of thought about that you pull up this old chemistry and then you start craving those things. Because I don't know what dark chocolate would have in there that would be something other than just what you're saying. Could previous dark, yeah. No, I believe you might be right, Mike. Or could it be something? I think you're right, Mike. I really do. Hard to say. There's so much we don't know. But it's funny, we're all kind of the same, going down those same experiences, But for the most part, most of the older guys, and even myself, we believe that some of the chemistry you're pulling up is probably the old chemistry. Now, geez, I got a bunch of, let me see. Oh, I tell you what, most of these are very, very long. Let me see what I can just knock off of them, because I've still got plenty of time here, guys. I think we already went over this gene mutation, MTHFR. I'm sorry, you got a gene mutation. You can't detoxify. Holy crap. Dear Dr. Morris, my name is Sonu. Sonu? I don't know how to pronounce that. From India. Oh, I love India. You guys, such a beautiful... I heard about that story where there was a beautiful wedding ceremony in India. And there was about 100 women and children, and maybe you had heard of that story, at this wedding ceremony or birthday party, one of the two. And this tent caught on fire, and something like 30-some women and children died with that. To show you the acidic nature of smoke, and you got to think about this if you're smoking anything, is that smoke is acidic, And when you breathe it in, you bypass the liver, which can buffer. And therefore, you don't have a buffer. So it goes right through the tissues of the lung, of course, so you're going to burn the mucosa a little bit. That's going to create mucus to protect itself. Then you have a chance of burning the cell, but the cell has some protection for a while. Add that to the mucus already in there, and then you hit the blood with pure acids. You can fill your kidneys, you can fill everything when you smoke, and that's in the weed even. And also, and that was a sad story, but I used that story to show you that acidifying the blood, and that's another thing about this protein thing. You don't dump protein in your blood like that. Do you know what you do to the pH when you do that? And that's the thing that people don't understand. And people like this that give these opinions there right in the front of your computer that has no clue to that. 33 years old, living and working in Italy since 10 years now, eh? Thank you so very much, Doc, because you are the only one that gave me... Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate the short videos about high blood pressure. You know, I need to go back to making those videos, but I've got all these questions, and it's hard to have time to do all that. There, eventually, I'll have a video for each problem that man can get into, his body can get into. I start to understand a little bit more what's going on. I would like to ask you if you could put on your YouTube a short video on how to get out from hemodialysis. Yeah, I think, we've talked a lot about that. 5 years ago, I went to the hospital with very high blood pressure, 160 over 220. Whew. And they gave me a lot of pills. After a week, my legs swollen, edemas. So here's what was going on, and you're 33 years old, so you know you were in kidney failure. And so this is why, when they gave you the pills and everything, but you also saw what happened with pharmaceuticals. And yeah, it is important to bring the blood pressure down. There's no question, and I don't argue that we need some pharmaceuticals stat needs. There's homeopathics that are great for stat needs too, that bring down blood pressure and everything else. We have a few things at our disposal, botanical-wise, to do that, but it's not super fast. The problem with using something like that to initiate an effect is the side effects that causes by using these things. And what this is saying is that your kidneys were in, not filtering, and were in trouble. And you see how this just exploded that way when they treated your high blood pressure. I was diagnosed immediately with diagnosed immediately with kidney failure and forced to dialysis 3 times a week. Now, the question here, were you still urinating? Now, 2 months later, my uncle donated me one of his kidneys, but after 10 days from the operation, my body rejected it, and the butchers operated me again to remove it. Yeah, did they leave your kidneys in? That's the question. Did they leave that one kidney still in there? Because a lot of times they do, and then they just add the 3rd kidney. Well, restore what you have. Restore what you have. And one of the big issues, just what we're in our face and what we're talking about here, is proteins. You want off of all protein and kidney failure, guaranteed. If not, and this dude that wrote this article, he has no idea what these pro athletes, these bodybuilders go through pumping high proteins and what we have to deal with as their kidneys fail. All the arthritises, RA in particular, all the joints, all those are all gone. Kidneys are gone. I mean, it's just unconscious people here. Okay, they took that out. Still, I have my here it is. If I just shut my mouth and read on, right? Still, I have my 2 original kidneys, but they are shrinked. You know what made them shrink? Acidosis. They're being chewed up. That's why they high creatinine. Now your kidneys aren't filtering themselves. So this is when you want to start with the stomach tea and start with kidney formulas. I think you're already working on that, but work on your kidneys. Work on those kidneys. Use that stomach tea as an anti-inflammatory or an antacid. It's a systemic. Even though I say stomach, it's systemic. And start opening and fixing those 2 kidneys and the adrenal glands on top. So you want something for your adrenal glands and your kidneys for sure. I'm vegan and I do my best for raw diet and juices, but I still cook cereals and vegetables for potassium reasons, but my legs, I wouldn't. I let them deal with potassium, with pharmaceuticals the best they can, because that's your kidneys. That's potassium, right? Now, phosphorus, they can give you some phosphorus binders, although scary, but you have to play a little game here. Now, are you still peeing with those two shrunken kidneys? Because if you're still urinating, then you really want to try to back away. You want to get your kidneys filtering as soon as you can with the fruits, and then try to back away. Go to 2 days dialysis if you have to. And then as you keep filtering and everything starts looking good, then you can back off. But there's going to be a jump that one has to make with the potassiums and the phosphoruses. There's just got to be a jump sometime off of dialysis, because that in itself is toxic. So that in itself, it breaks down kidneys. So you got to be careful with that. I feel so tired of dialysis that my blood pressure is very high. Because you haven't fixed the kidneys, man. That's the bottom line. You haven't fixed your kidneys. And high blood pressure is a direct result of kidneys. And if they haven't figured this out yet, I mean, Jesus, these are non-thinkers or what? Right? Only when chemical drops and pills get normalized. Doctor, please help. Okay, so here's the thing. I would probably add a little our cayenne garlic formula, because it has butcher's broom and some other herbs in there, and it kind of help dilate the vascular system. At the same time, you're breaking down because of the lymph system, not of the blood. But getting a little more blood flow in those kidneys would be beneficial. If you're self-urinating, you still can pee, thank you, God, then you really want to kick up the elimination. If you're not urinating yet, you just have to keep hitting that and hitting that and hitting that. And the balance here, guys, is with someone that is not urinating anymore, and you can't give them juices, because too many fluids, they're only on 3-day dialysis, you'll bloat them up. You can't do that because your kidneys are failing to filter. Even water something. So what you've got to do is go to the eating of the fruit. And then keep the real juiciest ones down. That's why the subacid to sweet is much better. And work on the kidney formula. That's why the herbs are so great, because now we can work on the kidneys with herbs. Once we can get, the problem is, so many people that have been on dialysis tell me that they were urinating until they went into dialysis and then it stopped them. That tells me that that's dangerous on the kidneys, because any procedure that helps you should increase the function of related tissue. So that's what medical has to figure out. They have to figure out how we do that so they can do that. Because we have to incorporate some of their issues. Because when you don't take care of your kidneys, you lose your kidneys. You have to go on dialysis or you're going to die from toxemia. But with that said, this is when you integrate the alternative stuff, which is allopathic. That's alternative. That's radical. Pharmaceuticals are radical. Anybody thinks pharmaceuticals is the norm has definitely been smoking something in the back, and probably not natural weed, probably a pharmaceutical. I mean, that's the problem. You medical doctors are alternative, not us. We've been around since the dawn of time, if you hadn't noticed. So we have to get things straight so people know what's alternative and what's not. And because that we're pushing the other as traditional medicine, that's medical doctors that have done. The AMA consistently trying to misinform the public. That's why we have 440,000 deaths just in hospitals. That's just what's recorded. That's not what's true. You could double that easy. Easy double that. Ralph Nader once said you could double those easy. Scary? Scary. So my friend, listen, work on your kidneys. You got to get in the herbs, get your kidneys filtering. Work on that. If you're not filtering, you got to get yourself filtering. If you're filtering, be careful with. If you start seeing your stream reducing with dialysis, be careful. What's your creatinine? You didn't give me an idea of what heads up on your creatinine levels either. You might want to let me know. Get this one. I have been struggling with erosive gastritis and heartburn for 7 months. It all started from coming down with tonsilitis. Let's stop right there. You Facebook guys and gals, what's the connection? Oh, I heard you. I heard that. You guys are too good. It's a lymphatic system. Of course it is. Interstitial. Sweet, who is this? Joseph. Joseph, you're burning from the inside out. You're burning from the inside, basically. Interstitially out. It's the worst kind of burn you could have, because that'll lead you right into stomach cancers. Because that's the next thing. This isn't gastritis like mucosic gastritis. This is interstitial-itis. In other words, this is your lymph system. How it's tied, these are lymph nodes, part of your lymph system. So when we say when you have lymphatic problems, it's systemic, that's just what it is. And this is a good example to show you that your tonsils were a warning. Warning, warning, my lymph nodes are swelling. Warning, something isn't filtering. Warning. I just cut them out, and then the warning's gone. Jay, my God. I took some antibiotics, of course, and they seemed to help. But 2 weeks later, my stomach started burning. Oh, it's let me tell you, because bacterium breaks down what? Oh, I heard you too. Acids. So you kill the very things that help you, and you leave the very things that are hurting you. That's why you guys are so important to this planet, to change this idiocy of thinking. Because it's easy to correlate this when you understand the lymphatic system, you understand acids, easy to understand this, and understand the role of bacterium. You never just try to destroy God. You have to understand why they're present and what you're doing to create maybe a feeding frenzy, if that's the case. So by destroying bacteria and suppressing the lymph system even more with antibiotics, you just created a whole big thing. But people don't tell you that. I went to the doctors and he gave me a PPI to take. This had made me constipated. I changed to Zantac, and as this helped a little bit with my bowels, right now I feel as though my stomach is getting better, but slowly. Tell you what, things like these kind of pharmaceuticals have well known to cause stomach cancer. Now, of course, you can go to Walmart and buy Zantac, Tegamid, or whatever it was, all these things. Got to be careful. You want to fix the cause of this. Well, where are we going to go to the cause of this gastritis? We're going to go to the stomach? Nope. We're going to go to the colon? Nope. We're going to go to the kidneys? Yep. Why? Lymphatics. You're going to go to your adrenal glands too. You could probably use those steroids, because if you have low steroids in this burning stomach, you're going to have cholesterol plaquing, or you're going to pull the calcium out of the structure of the stomach, and now your stomach is going to start sagging down. The pain problems are pain in the... I want you to get that stomach tea. That stomach tea is perfect for this sort of thing, but it's, remember, interstitial. It's the lymph system, and you got to get it, because your tonsils are also, hello, help me. Different stages of the day and a burning back. And would you, in a case where you have gastritis, would you eat protein? I heard you too. One said no and one said you would never want to initiate hydrochloric acid when you're already burning. Even though it's interstitial burn, you still don't want to initiate hydrochloric acid. So anybody, you would never want to eat anything that smacks of grains, beans, meats, nuts, anything like that at all. You want to cool everybody down. And with this much gastritis, I'd stay away from all the acid fruits, all the acid vegetables, and cool yourself down. Get the stomach tea, start cooling yourself down with herbs. Use maybe the subacid category or the sweet category with the fruits. Watermelon might still be a little aggressive for a high gastritis, so you might want to go back to honeydews or something more gentle. And that's where teas are going to help you immensely here, but you've got to go on already. You've got to get your kidneys filtering, your adrenals up. You've got to get all these things going, or you can't fix this. And where you're going is not good, just think where you would go if you don't stop acids burning your tissues. I want to stop the Zantac, but the burning just comes back. And that's the problem. That's why these things have been dubbed cancer-causing. I am taking L-glutamine, probiotics, lemon and ginger tea. I wouldn't. Plus trying to eat real food. I wouldn't. I tell you, I don't know what I mean by real, meaning raw maybe, but I'll tell you what, green drinks might be a benefit to you here, particularly dandelion greens. Maybe a little parsley in there, of course. Now, that's going to trip the kidneys and adrenals already, so it can help in that way. But again, stay away from all your nightshades, all your tomatoes, all this kind of stuff. Stay away from the acid fruits for a while. And just let your stomach, get that lymph filtering, and then clean your GI tract up. Because this is essential, Joseph. This illness has knocked me. It's not an illness. It's not a disease. It's your lymphatic system. And that's the tip of the iceberg, because all cancers are what? Lymphomas, right? For them. We know that damaging cells is an acid experience. I used to be very fit. Now I am in pain and losing weight. You won't be long, Joe. Just hang in there and follow these protocols, and I'll tell you what, you'll turn yourself around. Now let's get to a little longer ones. I just want to say I'm extremely grateful. I found, oh, thanks, man. He found, this individual found us through Dan the Man. I don't have any name on here. And I'm quite glad I did find, oh, thanks. You, although it is beyond depressing most of the time to feel like I wouldn't ever heal my body and alkalize, you gave me, oh, thanks. Well, you know what? I hope we all give everybody hope. People have lost their hope out there. You see that? You know, that's heartbreaking. You know, we're here to have fun, enjoy the rock, and look what we've made of it. Everything's a chore. We got to work ourselves to death. They tax us to death. We've let the egos win. We've let the people that don't know anything rule us. I mean, it's just sick what we've created here. And we need to turn it around. And it's just a lack of spirituality in a mind-dominant world. And think about it. Wait a minute, that's the mind. Observe it. And I think, let me see here now. Let me see. I need to just take one day at a time. Let's see what's going on with you, man. So again, thank you, and I wish more people, including traditional med stocks, open their eye. I do too. If they don't, it's going to be forced open. I mean, just look at your own world. You know, when you ignore the laws, you get your butt kicked. So these guys are in line to get their butts kicked, and I'm just trying to help you guys that are medical doctors listening to this. Turn yourself around, join us, you know, become good healers, and write it, because karma's karma. And even though there's no such thing as ignorance of the law, remember? Yes, this isn't about hurting people. This is about getting people well, and you don't have to hurt people in the process of getting them well. That's ridiculous. Since going vegan and raw about 3 or 4 years ago, and being mostly raw with the unfortunate vegan processed food here and there, I have lost 70 pounds. Wow. And so I hope that was needed or so, and I still much more to go. Oh, wow. Even though someday I am too skinny now as it is, I do know the body will break itself down to what some may seem as extreme levels. Well, yeah, that's true. You know, especially, remember, in malabsorbed cases, because basically you've been supporting yourself with fat, grains, things like this, coffees, things like this, and or high proteins, just to get a few aminos in maybe. So really, once you open up all the doors, you get your digestion, your absorption, your utilization done, you get the elimination. Of course, you have to do that first, actually. But you get all this set, boy, then your muscles come back on, you get your body back. And you don't get too big, you don't get too small, you're somewhere in the middle. I recently stumbled onto CBD, or cannabis oil, or cannabis-related products. I am by no means looking to smoke the stuff, but we can eat it. Well, you don't want to smoke it, because that's toxic, you know. Tincture it. Never mind. Eat any funny brownies or anything along those lines, because I know heating anything changes its composition. Well, that's why you tincture, and only ends up acidic. You're right on here. I'll say this, though, the oils, again, as we said earlier, it ties right into what we were talking about a little earlier about the hemp oils and stuff. Oils are great anti-inflammatories. That's what they are. And someone that has high acidosis could benefit from some hemp oil or coconut oil in that way. I think those are the superior oils in terms of ingestion. In terms of castor oil and other oils like that, I don't know how much you would consider that a nutritive oil. Grapeseed is one of my favorites for salves and stuff, although all my salves have hemp oil, coconut oil, and grapeseed oil. All these salves have all three oils in them. In the tiny bit of my research, it seems that CBD, what's CBD? There's so many names out there, initials. What's CBD? Has so many positive benefits with a number of diseases, as well as, oh, you're talking about cannabis oil. I see, I got it. As well as cancer benefits. That's because it's an antacid. It's that simple. It's antacid. Oils are antacid. But remember, too much ketosis, you know, and then a form of acidosis. You just, you know, balance is a correct thing. You're going to obviously overbalance your oil ingestion to deal with inflammation, but on a long-term run, I wouldn't use it. because you're going to get plenty of fatty acids in your foods, and you want to have coconut on the main menu. But I want to know your thoughts. Yeah, I like it. Oh yeah, definitely. You think it will help with detox? I don't know about helping with detox. Too many oils, then of course you have to metabolize. And anything you have to metabolize or you have to digest or break down, yeah, that takes energy away from detoxification. But with that said, those people that have high inflammatory problems, maybe the guy with high gastritis, could definitely use some oils like that as anti-inflammatories. Absolutely. Think it's good. You know, on a long-term focus and you got your body healthy, I wouldn't be consuming too many oils. Not necessary, not needed anymore, and could cause problems in the long run. Do you think it would help with detox? Maybe, removing mucus? I don't know about removing mucus. That's more of an astringent value and a hydration value. So I don't know about that, but definitely neutralization of acids. Anything? Absolutely. Again, grateful. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you for the comments and everything. I do love that. Now, let's see here. I discovered your videos on YouTube not too long ago. Oh, man. Again, thanks for that. All the good comments, guys. My question is concerning aspartame. Yeah. And how to effectively remove it from the body. Well, as with a lot of chemicals, they are cumulative. I don't know about aspartame being a cumulative, but I suppose almost anything can be a cumulative, meaning building up in the body. But how you would detoxify any accumulated chemistry, whether it's heavy metals, neurotoxins, is always detox. Now, there are a lot of people into chelation therapies and things like this. Maybe I stand somewhere in high, like this lady I talked to yesterday with high mercury levels. I told her to go ahead and do the chelation, but I'm not really in favor of that because you're really chelating the blood. And really want to get into the lymph system because everybody dumps. If you clean the body this way, the way we're talking about, it'll clean everything out. Everything. You know, so that's how I see that anyway. I have been diligently combining through your videos and combing through your videos and have not come upon any information on the subject yet. Oh, so hopefully I'm wasting your time. No, you're not wasting. You guys don't waste my time anyway. I love to help people. That's just where I come from, guys. But you don't have to worry about that. Matter of fact, the less you worry about individual constituents and things like that, and remember, every thought you have takes your energy away from you. Every thought. So the more thoughts, the more energy lost. You ever get tied up going to school and you get done studying and you're just tired, you need to lay down and go to rest because you're spending energy. And that energy doesn't come from the mind, it comes from you as soul. And soul's just trapped in thought processes with the mind. The mind's wrapped around it and it loses itself that way. So detoxification is the golden key, in my opinion, for all these things, from aspartame to and get this, selenium now is considered toxic. How many people are taking selenium now? I don't know to what level, but there's this thing on the news a couple nights ago about the toxicity of selenium. It's like, what? A lot of people on selenium. I have an extreme sensitivity to aspartame, which I discovered in August of 1990. Nobody does well with aspartame. Are you kidding? And what are we, 900 tons of aspartame America uses a year? I mean, I'm not a facts or figure kind of guy because who cares? I mean, sticking all that crap in your brain, but I remember that one. In very small amounts, a sweetener in a cup of tea. You know, I spoke for the Diabetes Foundation in Miami one time, and the head of the American Diabetes Foundation, either in Florida or somewhere, asked me to speak. Also asked Brian to speak at Hippocrates. And there are so many of these synthetic sweeteners, boosts of these synthetic sweeteners. And I was just looking at all these boosts. And it was just all synthetic crap, you know? And it's like, Jesus, no focus on cures. I told you the story about the osteopath that came up yelling at me. He never heard. He had 15 years of school. This osteopathic endocrinologist had 15 years of school, yet he couldn't cure diabetes. And I asked him, what did you go to school for? That pissed him off even more. But, you know what? Think about it. You went to school 15 years of your life and you can't even cure the thing you went to school for? Interesting, huh? Anybody can teach you how to treat anything. A sweetener in a cup of tea, and he didn't even know what caused it. Caused it an autoimmune problem. That's disgusting. 15 years of school, and you don't even know what causes diabetes, and you don't know how to cure it. 10 years of school would be obscene. Well, I'm familiar with aspartame. You don't have to go any further with that. I never ingested very much of it, but its impact was severe. Nevertheless, I gained 30 pounds in 3 weeks. I had all the symptoms of MS. Oh, yeah. And talk about depression and all the other stuff. Absolutely. Suicidal tendencies. Absolutely. After over 50 different medical tests, psychological, neurological, etc., the doctors came up to the conclusion that my condition was not physiological or neurological, and that although they were certain that I was no more than 3 weeks away from having to live the rest of my life in a wheelchair, there was nothing they could do for me. They were gently asked me not to come back. Seen that one. Yeah. Well, you know what? They were just trying to tell you. That's all. They were just trying to tell you, hey man, we don't know how to deal with this. We can't find it. We don't know why. That's all that is. You know, like you can't blame. You know, even though I come down hard, you have to realize this is an unconscious world, and all these souls are just unconscious. But it's time they become conscious, at least to certain levels. So there's no excuse. It's time to become awake for those souls that hold other lives in their hands, or the karma is not what they want. It'll tie them into these worlds for lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes. No, thank you. There was nothing they could do for me. They were okay. There was a fantastic turning point in my life where it brought me down the road of natural health, for which I am forever grateful. Taking responsibility for my own health has been both a positive and gratifying experience. It is, isn't it? That's why I love to empower people. Just what you're saying here. Who am I talking to? Cynthia. It's a female. Hey, Cynthia. Yeah, you know what? That's why I empower people as much as I can. Because it's no fun. It's more fun to hang around empowered people than it is to hang around people that the conversations aren't, you know, very high off the ground. That's why I'm a recluse. You know, there's just conversation. Right? And has kept me out of the wheelchair so far. Well, go in, sweetheart, and I'll tell you, that also might be a clue that your lymph system is holding. So you might want to get in and get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up. Of course, that's your autonomic. Maybe get some brain and nerve going. We're going to clean out the lymph system, build up your nervous systems and stuff, you know, and get all these toxins out of the body. However, with each accidental encounter with aspartame, well, you won't have an accidental encounter with aspartame if you eat just fruits, berries, melons, and some salads. You'd be surprised how many products contain it. I know. I mean, I've read a lot about it. Of course, my mom ended up in a kind of a nursing home thing from Diet Coke. She would consume couple, at least, I would say 15 Diet Cokes a day, maybe 10 Diet Cokes a day. And she ended up, you know, sitting on the couch just staring into space. I knew it was the Diet Cokes. I knew it was aspartame, but you know what? You can only do so much with people that don't want to listen. The last time I encountered it was about 15 months ago. A waitress spilled another's guest's diet soda on me. Most of the aspartame was absorbed through my hands. It goes to show you, whatever you put on your skin is how you eat. You know what, honey? Detox your lymph system. You're too sensitive. Detox that lymph system and build up your adrenals, which is your autonomic, and get up on and build the nervous system with the brain and nerve too. But it took me 3 months to recuperate, which is a lot. Oh, well, you're holding it in you. That shows your lymph system isn't cleaning you well. And my brain function was impaired for a long period of time. Upper circuit, brain and nerve, slurred speech, inability to recall. You know what? And so many people have these symptoms, and guess what? They still sell 900 tons of aspartame a year in America. I tell you, there's a negative side to capitalism without spirituality. This is horrible. It reads horrible, guys. Coming now to the present. I have been eating at least 80% raw for the past 7 years, although I tend to eat more cooked foods in the winter. Well, everybody does. Don't feel bad. Everybody does, and it's appropriate because it's cold out, alkaline out, and that's the balance nature's pulling you. But then humans are not suited for those areas. We live in them, and they're beautiful, but if you want to be well, you need the warm climates, because that pushes you toward the fruits and the cooling yourself off. Cool inside, warm out. Although I tend to eat more. Okay, let me see here. I was hoping that a 100% raw food diet would be sufficient for removing this aspartame from my cell tissue. Not if you have a lot of vegetables in it. That's what I'm saying. That's what you see in detox. You got to get rid of the vegetables and go to the fruit. If you're this toxic, though, you might have to do some green drinks for a little while, then break to the higher fruits. Whatever. I get on my kidney formulas, my adrenals, clean out the bowels, get my lymph system going. I get on a normal program that way if it's me. But I've come to the conclusion that it is not. Although after listening to your videos, it is possible that a diet of 100% fruits might. Oh, it will. But you want to get on the herbs too, because there's the power. Because again, the fruits, if you're in the tropics, big. Yes. If not, so get on the herbs too. That'll really clean you out. Take some herbs for the kidneys, take some herbs for the lymphatic system, get your adrenals up with some herbs or glandulars, whatever, but really get yourself up there and also get deeper cleansing on yourself. I've had some success with a charcoal and bentonite blend. Well, get the GI broom. That'll help you. As well as with dry fasting. But I'm not still sure if it's wise to do either of those long term. I disagree with long-term dry fasting, and I disagree with using charcoal and bentonite long term. You could bind yourself up like a rock. Get the GI broom, but this is not just, you're not just trying to detox it out of your gut. Systemically, you want to detox it out of the body. If it is neurotoxic, then you gotta dig deeper. I would be grateful to hear your thoughts on how I might eliminate aspartame from the body. I am very overweight and can't seem to lose a pound. Adrenals, and you might be so acidic, sweetheart, that when you attempt to, you gain water weight. Remember that one? So don't get upset if you start gaining water weight when you go on raw. The other thing is, here, check your thyroid too, because if you have a thyroid and adrenals, you got two things hitting you for weight. Thyroid with metabolism issues and adrenals with sugar issues. I'm not sure how much more my body can take. Well, just get away from anything. Once you get your body detoxed and everything, Cynthia, you'll be fine. You won't have that immediate kick in the butt from that. P.S. If it's relevant, I am a 47-year-old female who is otherwise in relatively good health. And as a conscious aside, if I drink at least 20 ounces of Coca-Cola as soon as I encounter aspartame, it cuts my recovery time. That's funny. Yeah, that's fun. I have to laugh. If she drinks 20 ounces of Coca-Cola as soon as I encounter aspartame, it cuts my recovery time down significantly. Isn't that interesting? How that acid strips? Isn't that interesting? And nothing else has been able to do that. Not even other dark colored carbonated beverages. Cynthia, put your hand out there and let me smack it. You're digging in the wrong food chain. Get on the raw, sweetheart. Start detoxifying yourself like we talk about, and you'll be good. You might have some symptoms of detox too, That's why you might want to have a green drink to kind of buffer that a little bit. You might have some symptoms as the body detoxifies this neurotoxic crap out of you. Hello, I have 2 questions. If you can only answer one, I would rather you answer this, please. Can someone's kidneys fully recover from a kidney transplant? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what? I mean, the sad thing is that I think they base transplants more on creatinine levels and kidney function levels than they do on the tissue. So, for the most part, I've never really had a kidney I couldn't rebuild. I really never had one I couldn't rebuild. So, in terms of someone else's kidney, I've had several kidney and liver and lung transplants in here, and we've never ever had a conflict, ever. I had a chiropractor in here, he had 3 transplants. And I'm going, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure. Well, he's a pretty gutsy guy. Took off right on it. Never had a problem one. Thought it was quite interesting, I'll say this, you've got to pull that energy consciously too. If you've got a transplanted organ, love it. Pull that energy around it, make it part of your one energy there consciously. Do that, detoxify your body, so all tissues, because if you're getting a kidney from someone else, you know what the chances are of that kidney not filtering and being bad? Probably 90%. So that's the problem. They don't get it. Most kidneys aren't filtering out there, and they're grabbing these like kidneys to try to transplant them, and they're not even filtering. Big time, little trouble, little Texas. My boyfriend had a kidney transplant from his father. See what I'm saying? Think about this. This is from the same gene pool. The son is definitely weaker than the father. But now, granted, the mother could have given him the kidneys. You would have to look at the eyes to determine. You'd have to look at all the stats. But let me say, you're taking it out of the same gene pool. So if, let's say, that son got kidneys from his dad, but most of his genetics came from dad, then what you have is about 10 years difference, and the dad is in serious trouble. Now that the dad lost a kidney, the kidney probably isn't filtering either, dad's going to have a lot of problems. When you hear these stories and you think, you don't hear the end tales of these stories, there are a few people that get along in life with that. But as a rule, the stories we hear are not that favorable to transplants. It makes better sense to regenerate what you have. Now, there's going to be cases where they're just so atrophied and decayed that that's impossible. And I agree with that. It's probably the case. But that's pretty far down the tubes. And if we can get and work this consciousness into this society here, we will help people way before that transplant is ever needed. You know what I'm saying? But I would go in and make, since it's from the father, I think it's probably at least harmonious with the son. I'd go in and detox and rebuild, and just like I'd do anything else. Both of his birth kidneys are completely crippled. But now, did he lose urination completely? Doesn't sound like it. If you don't lose urination completely and you're still peeing pretty good, just not filtering, we can get your filtering. Might be a little while, but we can do that. But I don't believe this will be forever. He's on medications, immunosuppressant, of course, and whatnot. Do you believe this is a way to bring his birth kidneys back to life? I believe there's not only a way to bring the birth kidneys back to life, but since he's got his dad's kidney, make that kidney healthy too. He'd have 3 friggin' kidneys. That's pretty good. But what about dad? You got to think of his dad. Thank you. I'm also wondering, I've been binge eating since I can remember. I always overeat, but I never throw it up. Lately, I've been eating like a stone 15-year-old, but I don't smoke. Well, you either have malabsorption or some wicked parasites. You might have some tapes. Who knows what you got down there? Rounds, tapes, who knows? So you want to deworm yourself. I do that, first of all. And I would open up my bowels. I would start getting absorption going on there, get my kidneys filtered, and go through that whole thing lymphatically that you know to be true. And I would do that. Definitely deworm yourself, just in case you got a little friendlies down there that like to eat with you. Lately, I've been eating like, let me see, I was supposed to get my period on the 16th, yet I'm not pregnant. So it sounds like she didn't get her period, and yet she's not pregnant. So what does that tell you? Where would you go to if a woman loses her ability to menstruate? You could go to the ovaries. First place I would go to is up here. I go to the pituitary. I put them on a female reproductive formula, which has pituitary herbs in it, and also strengthen the ovaries and uterus. I would do the female reproductive for sure. And if that wasn't enough to bring you into balance, which it generally is, then I would go after the pituitary with a glandular, I was never diagnosed, but I believe I have schizophrenia, audio hallucinations. Well, there was I think I told you this story when I was in I think it was a Ford dealer or something, and I was looking at some cars. I was looking to try to trade or something, and there was a guy there talking to his salesman, and he must have just bought one or something. He's talking about he has this music in his head, and he can't get rid of it. He's had all kinds of medical procedures, all kinds of, excuse me, pharmaceuticals. He can't get rid of it. So when I walked by him, I said, "Do you ever think that was celestial music? Do you ever think that music was for your listening pleasure? And that by listening, you start looking within yourself?" So you could turn this around. Instead of using it as an external thing, use it as a meditative device. Get the nervous system strong so you're not like an antenna out there. All right, so get your nervous system strong, get your adrenals up, get the pressure out of the head and everything, dump your sinuses, get everything clean. And if you still hear music, then I would do some meditation and listen to that stuff. It depends, you know. And I know that most likely comes from cerebral allergies. Well, what would a cerebral allergy be? You're right. You wouldn't hear it from cerebral allergies. You would hear it maybe from cerebral pressure, which or high inflammation, which could turn the turning fork a little bit, creating some pickup here, real sensitivity here to the nerves of the ear. But I would detox, clean myself up, get upper circuit, brain and nerve, and all that other stuff, and start getting all this lymph cleaned out. Because whenever you use the word allergy, or some medical doctor had to tell you that one, because that's a ridiculous one. But allergy, obviously, is going to relate to the lymphatic system. Absolutely. And I know that most likely comes, okay, allergies. I'm a vegan who eats zero cheese and occasionally cheats with eggs and rarely milk in products like muffins or buttered croissants. Well, it isn't what you're doing now. It's what you came up with. It's your gene pool, your time in your mother, and then what did you eat to the time you decided you needed to change? You know, it's all of those years that you have to deal with. You know, people say, "I'm raw, how come I'm still sick?" Because you have to deal with all the previous years you created. Your gene pool, your genetic weaknesses, your stint in mom, all of that lymphatic stuff, and then what were you fed from here on? Your formulas, the milks, breast milk, okay, but what'd your mother eat? You know, all these things like that. That's what you have to think about. And that's what detoxification is. It's going back in time and pulling all this out. You know, you notice when you detox, it's exactly what you're doing. You're going back in time, and that's what it does. I've never talked to you about that, but it just came to my mind. And if you look at that, it's just, and I forget. I used to figure out, and maybe one of you guys know, but for every month of detox, it runs you back 5 years or something. I don't know. But that's what it is. You're unwinding the long and winding road of your life, especially those that are above the 50s or 40s. Those in their 20s, you're still unwinding the same thing, but your intensity of genetic weaknesses have to be thought of. I've been a vegetarian for over a year now. I was a raw vegan for a few months in that time. I'm bad with time, so it really how long? It doesn't matter, honey. Who am I talking to? I don't have a name. I don't have a name. All right. Let's see. But I felt the best I ever did. Had the most energy I ever felt, and I feel my mind felt really clear. See what I'm saying? When you get raw, you're getting alive again. You're making your cells alive again. You're making your consciousness alive again. You're making yourself alive again. Plus, then you start cleaning out all the sewage and all the acids, the things that inflame, the things that send that nervous system way out there. All those things. Yet my memory is bad, so right there's a clue. Right? Heavy lymphatic, and when you said cerebral allergy, you're just highly congested in the head, honey. You're not, or man, you're not draining. And you got to start draining your lymph system. Well, how do you do that? You got to go after the kidneys, you got after the adrenals, you have to go after what? GI tract. So I just know, see, when you read these things and you have clients come in to you, just listen to them. Just listen to every word they're saying, and they'll tell you their whole story and exactly what's the problem and where the problem is. She's telling you, or he's telling you right where everything is. I was going about it in the wrong way. Paranoid, needed to get my body as clean as possible. That's a good idea. Multiple full body detoxes. I want to go back to the raw diet, at least 80% raw. I'm constantly bloated. Well, you might even have the sulfurs. Don't forget the sulfurs in the body. You might have a ton of sulfur in your gut, high candida. You know, all these things is real probable. So you got to work on this. Full body detoxes, what's that? And how long did it take you to do that? Because a full body detox is going to take you 2 or 3 years. If you really want to do it right and really get interstitially and clean yourself out, 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Depends how old you are. Depends how chronic your lymph system is or isn't. How much sulfur you have in you. All these things depends how long you're going to be on the road of detox. But you know what? It's a road of wellness. It's a road of happiness. It's a road of eating good, a road of feeling good. It's a road of being good, again, a road of becoming conscious. There's nothing negative about it except some healing crisis, perhaps. But a lot. I've been eczema ever since I was born. So what does that tell you right off, guys? Just what we're talking about here. Heavy lymph. He's like a radar right here. Heavy lymph, thin nervous system. Picks up any sound. You're losing your buffers. But let me see here. Eczema since they were born. Was on my face. Arms, legs. But after a full body detoxes, the dryness on my legs stopped itching and got much less dry, but I still look like a lizard down there. Well, you haven't, that's what I'm saying. You just started to detox. That's all you've done. You just started. If you haven't got your kidneys filtering, my mind seems very cloudy. I feel I can't concentrate. When I talk, I lose track of what I'm trying to say multiple times. I kind of stutter because I can't think. Well, upper circumbrain nerve, number 1, number 2. Also, take off on those kidneys, take off on those adrenals, take off on that GI tract, start moving those lymphs. Really go after this man or woman and really take off. You got to. Or you can't get well. You can't half-ass it and then expect to be well. I can't find the thoughts to hug. Huge pauses to think. I poop fine, though, 1 to 3 times a day. Maybe I can send a picture of my eyes. Yep, you can do that. In short, why do I have insatiable hunger and constant huge bloat, schizophrenia, and dry skin? Well, don't label yourself as schizophrenia, first of all. Don't label yourself at all. That tells me you have weak adrenals and probably weak parathyroid. So hit your parathyroid, that's your calcium utilization, that's your depression and happiness. Hit your adrenals, that's your emotional unhappiness. Get that up there. The bloat and stuff comes from either interstitial lymphatic constipation, remember that one, or high fungus. Take a picture of your eye, see if you have orange around your pupil there. And go on a parasitic kill. That's why I recommend the first kit. Our first detox kit in the club is 1 kidney formula, 1 lymphatic formula, 1 liver gallbladder formula, 2 parasitic formulas, 1 worms, 1 microbes, a GI tract formula, and an endocrine gland formula. That you see why that is and why we go in that direction. And we're having fun. This is from an individual. It says, I must take a minute and thank you for the... Oh, thanks. I have 3 fast questions about ways to speed up the cleansing of my horribly backed up lymph. 1. Can warm and cold shower shock therapy help? I think so. I think hydrotherapy is very valuable. Jensen was a hydrotherapy freak. Father Knipe, of course, you know, big deal. So, absolutely. Naturopathic hydrotherapy is a big part of that. Hot and cold, hot and cold. You walk in it, you shower in it, all kinds of things. Reflex in it, all kinds of things. Remember, cold is alkaline, hot is acid. But yeah, but whenever you're hurting and you're highly inflamed, put the cold. Can hanging upside down in the gym help? I always thought so. I like hanging upside down. I need to buy me because I could use a back stretcher. No, I think hanging upside down is a good thing for you know, playing that game a little bit. There is a machine that allows me to hand by hang by my feet, and it makes me feel good. Yeah, absolutely, I love that. I think it's an important thing to stretch that spine out every once in a while. Can lymphatic drainage massage help? You know what? I'd rather see people go to neurolymphatic massage. I don't like lymph drainage and the way they do it. I think it's ridiculous to move these acids toward the inferior vena cava. I think that's stupid and insane. I think we're heading toward the kidneys, guys, and that's vital. You're not rehashing acids. You want to get to the kidneys. So the neurolymphatic points turn on the organs and glands and also start to incite lymph. So definitely would prefer the neurolymphatic drainage. Yeah, thanks for your comments. Oh, those are good 3 questions, I thought. I have a couple of questions about my 2 sons' eczema. Look at all this, guys. Look at all the skin issues. But we know they're not skin, are they? We know the skin's an eliminative organ. That's why we see it on the skin, isn't it? And what's trying to be eliminated? What the kidneys can't, right? Acids. What would turn the skin like that? You know it isn't microbes, because they fought acne with antibiotics till hell froze over. None of that's ever helped. Because it's acids. You kill just like this one fellow, you kill the acids. You kill the bacterium. And now you don't have anybody to break down your acids. That's why you see these chronic arthritic cases are cases that have been on antibiotics in the past, steroids in the past, and now they're in trouble. Now they're really in trouble because they've killed out, the medical doctors kill the bacteria in the body that helps to break down their acids. So now their acids are going, I'm going to hurt you. See, that's all messed up. Culturing medium, the terrain. Go after your terrain. That's the sewer system. That's the lymphatic system. All right, first question. My first son is 2+ years old and has had eczema affecting his cheeks, belly, buttocks, and legs ever since he was born. You know what, sweetheart? Let me first say this to you. You got to detox yourself, because I'm telling you, your kids stay in you. Is this the wife I'm talking about? The mom? Hope so. Anna. Hi, Anna. Absolutely. You got to detox yourself, sweetheart, because I'm telling you, a child gets a lot of their lymphatic problems from mom. They have to move their lymph and blood while they're growing in you. They don't poop to the outside world. They don't pee to the outside world, do they? It all goes through you, Mom. And so that's the problem. Now, it will be gone in the summer and come back in the fall and winter and spring. Why? Why do you see that? Alkaline. Alkaline always pulls out the symptoms because it detoxes you. So it pulls out the symptoms. Then we freak and then try to push it back in. Heat drives. So 2 months ago, I started him on daily 1 glass of freshly squeezed vegetable fruit juice. Now, this is a 2+ year old child. So don't take offense. This baby should be on all fruits. Berries, melons, and coconut water. I'm telling you. 2 years old, way past anything else. And vegetables, too coarse for this child. So you really want to get into the fruits, berries. This is where all the neural growth comes. This is where all the brain power comes from. This is where the muscles come. This is where all the power. You see my 2-year-old, my grandson is 2+. And he's a little brick you-know-what. This guy picks up, I can't even tell you what he picks up. He can pick up these chairs in here. I mean, raised on fruits, coconut water. And every parent I've seen do that, the child is like buffed. Unbelievable. So at first you got to do a little detoxification. Well, the fruits will do this. With a child this young, you could get you the endocrine gland formula, get you maybe a parasite M just on the side, lymphatic 1 liquid, or you could go to the glycerins, but it doesn't matter to me, and go to the lymphatic 1, kidney 1, endocrine gland liquids. Let's see, 2 years old, 2 drops, 2 little drops in some fruit juice, and help to clean, get these kidneys. Remember, 2 years old, sweetheart, these kidneys are going to be in trouble. These adrenals are going to be in trouble because 2 years old. What's your oldest son? You're not very old yourself. I have a feeling. And that's part of the problem. Your babies are going to have, just look at yourself and know your babies are going to have your issues quicker, much quicker. So you really want to take off after him right now. Good time to do this. 2 months ago, I started him on daily 1 glass of freshly squeezed vegetable fruit juice as well as fruit smoothies. He still eats meat, eggs, grains, and dairy daily. You're still feeding a 2-year-old meat, eggs, grains, and dairy daily? A 2-year-old? That's what people do out there. It's no offense to you, Annie. It's just what people do out there. And I think it's gross. My son feeds his 2-year-old now a little meat. And you know what my 2-year-old does? Or what his 2-year-old does? I want a banana. And I'm going like that. Good for you, boy. Because my son has that little dig. Right? So all I can say to you is that you get your kid off of this crap and clean this child up, or you're going to have some trouble with this 2-year-old. Just my opinion. Right? And his father has eczema. Dad, you got to save your kids here, man. You got to get them off of all this crap you got them on. And you need it too. You got eczema too. This is serious because this is systemic acidosis. And it never leads to anything good because remember, all your organs and glands inside of your body are dealing with this same acidosis. So, you know, the brain dealing with the same acidosis. This is a systemic problem. That's why you see it cheeks, buttocks, all over the place. Right? Since we started adding juices, his cheeks are now completely clear and smooth, as well as his legs. Belly has a teeny bit of rough patches left, but it's clear of any redness and scalp. Get him off the other crap, get him on the life regenerative foods, and you'll have a 2-year-old that probably will graduate college by the time he hits freshman in high school. That's how smart these kids are coming. I mean, it's unbelievable what these kids are doing. Now his buttocks are still red, dry, rough, and inflamed. What should I do to completely heal his skin buttocks of eczema? You know how I feel. Number 2, my second son is 5 months old. Sweet little thing. And is exclusively breastfed. Make sure your diet, sweetheart, is raw. Now keep in mind, if you've never detoxified your body, you're still going to feed your baby some toxins, even on a raw diet. And if you go too raw, I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably go 80% raw, 20% cooked. Got to get my kidneys and everything filtering, even while I'm breastfeeding. Now some of that is going to go into that breast milk. So you want to be real careful with that. So I don't know. I'd definitely go raw food, at least 80% if I was you. And for you, you're not doing meat, eggs, grains, and dairy, are you, Annie? No. You got to cut that crap out. He has a pretty bad case of eczema. Oh my God, 5 months old. And his cheeks, that's only getting worse with time. Well, you asked me for my opinion. And I will say this, if your 5-month-old does not clear up by you changing your diet, and you add a little kidney formula in your diet, a little lymphatic formula, and a little endocrine gland in your diet, not a lot, a little, quarter of a dropper full maybe. That way you get just a little bit into that milk. If that doesn't help, you need to quit breastfeeding, my opinion. Quit breastfeeding and go to a coconut water or milk along with a few fruit juices. At 5 months old, my grandson was almost all on coconut milk and grape juice, and I forget what else. It wasn't long. He was sucking down the fruits at around 5 months old or so. So this is the time to move your son into, especially if your milks are toxifying him like this. And it's possible. It's possible your own baby can't handle your own milks, and it's clogging his lymph system up. And if you're eating all this up here, like the meat, eggs, and grains and stuff, you'll clog him right up. So you want to back this boy away, or you'll be hooked with these children, sweetheart, into the medical community. And boy, you don't want to go there. Because when you see high eczema and stuff on children, that's high acidosis. So is your child walking down that road to maybe cancer or something? Of course, because this is all acidosis. You don't want to get them trapped. Let me tell you, it's a nightmare from hell what they're doing to the kids. So you don't want to go there. You want to do this now, sweetheart, now. Right? And Dad, too. If Dad's listening, do it too, Dad. Because I'm telling you, once you lose your kids to the system, you're just not going to be happy. You're going to, anger is not a good word. It just goes way out there. I know a lot of parents, they have to go through a prison just to visit their kids because the states took them. I mean, it's a nightmare. And you don't want to go there. These are warnings. These are major warnings. When you have a child head to toe eczema, you got serious subcutaneous constipation. That's right under the skin where all the lymph nodes are tied to everything else in the kidneys. So it's telling you your kidneys in these children are not good. But it also says that you've got one heck of a lymph system problem, sweetheart. And I'm not sure whether I would continue down that. If your little 5-month-old doesn't get better, you want to rethink things. Both cheeks are red, rough, dry, and scales, and even at times bleeds if he scratches it. I also drink 1 glass of fresh veggie juice daily, at least 5 times a week. Well, I can tell you guys, got to get your diets way, way up there. Way up there, guys. Come on. You got babies here. Way up there. At times a week, plus occasional fruit smoothies. I do eat meat. There you go. Knew you did. I do eat meat, eggs, grains, and dairy as well. Your child isn't dealing with your milk well, then I'll tell you right now. And plus all the lymphatic problems you have now, he has, or he or she, and then your milk. Although I try to eat a lot of fresh salads and fruits and cooked vegetables, I feel like the more juices I drink, the worse his cheeks become. You know why? Detoxification. Remember that, detoxification. How should I deal with that eczema? I am considering to switch to raw foods, but was recommended to do so once I stopped breastfeeding, as I was told that going completely on raw foods would cause my body to detox. And it could cause your baby to detox too. But your baby's going to have to detox sometime. And you don't want her to get or him to get scars and everything else from that. This is serious stuff. And when it's on the cheeks, guess where else it is? In the brain. And these are babies. Just remember that. I would more than consider switching. I would consider coming off of breastfeeding, as radical as that sounds from me, because there's a time when breast milk does not fit your babies, and if it makes their lymph system worse, not good. Like I said, you could start changing your diet and changing your life, maybe adding just a teeny bit of herbs in your diet, which will then kick a little in the milk. And you got to be prepared for fevers and mucus discharge on your babies, because that's just what's going to happen. They're going to get into fevers and mucus discharge. Do you want to stop the fever? Why would you not want to stop a fever? Because you've got to sweat. You've got to open up that skin. If you don't open up that skin, that will stay subcutaneous. It'll continue to be fed by the cells, and it'll just get worse and worse and worse. Worse and worse and worse. And now remember, all those acids are all in the body, head to toe. Not just the subcutaneous parts of the skin. Oozing out the dermis and epidermis. Toxins, including heavy metals, added to my breast milk can be passed on to my baby. It's too late, Annie. Your baby was already in you, so your baby already has the toxins you have in you, probably, and so you have to detox all 3 of you guys, and Daddy too. And the trouble with the 5-month-old and the 2-year-old, they're going to get some fevers and they're going to detox. So you go slow, but you go, or trouble can be had, And it's just sad to get these babies, and the trouble with trying to work on babies after the fact is if the state gets them, they're ruthless. They're ruthless. I have a 12-year-old dog, Zeke. He will be 13 in July. Wow. What kind? Who has a skin growth on the outside of his body close to his left shoulder blade. This growth has increased in size, more than tripled over the last 6 months. Now remember, most canines have kidney weakness. That's why in the smaller dogs you see all these little bumps and humps go on their skin, go down, up and down all over the place. Because their skin isn't like ours. They're not sweaters like we are. So, And then you've got kidney elimination. So this is get on the kidney formula, the lymphatic formulas. Then I just pop up the endocrine glands while I'm doing it. So endocrine gland, kidney, and lymphatics. You can go after a dog just like you could go after a human. Size and dosages, right? And go after that. You could put some new drawing salve. It's not a real. I haven't used it, so I don't know how much of a a strong drawing salve it is. I don't know. But we have Canex here, which is a mediocre type of black salve. You can put that on that and pull that out of there. But remember, they can regrow simply because this is the lymph system, and you've got to deal with this. Most dogs have lymphatic problems, Before, it felt like a small growth. He had a growth removed from his back leg back in 2011. So you see what I'm saying? His lymph system isn't filtering through his kidneys well. And this is just showing you that. Of course, as you get this old, you're going to get into kidney failure anyway. So rebuild that dog. He's only 13. Rebuild him. And you can. We had a lady working for us, Fran. I think we introduced her way back on some videos, but I told you about her. She took an old poodle and made it look a teenager again. I couldn't believe it. It's funny how she did it. He also got to get a lot of goo production from his left eye. See what I'm saying? His lymph system is so not filtering through the kidneys, it's oozing out his eyes, and he could get some nose, just like humans do. Just like humans do. From his left eye. His right eye never produces goo. Well, does the dog have 2 kidneys? I have 4 dogs, and Zeke is the only dog that has bad breath. Yeah, bad breath in a dog. Let me see, putrefaction. How about his teeth? My dogs eat a home-prepared diet. They get 50% raw meat meals, 50% cooked veggie meals, no grains. Occasionally they eat fruit meals, apples, melons, berries, etc. I feel like Zeke might benefit from some Oh, totally. Totally. But you want to go in and fix the kidneys. Use the herbs and fix your kidneys because he's going to need the kidneys. Kidneys lymphatics, and pull that out the kidneys like you would a human. If that isn't happening, put a drawing salve on there. I was thinking parasite M and kidney formula. Now you're thinking. I was thinking parasite M and kidney. You guys are so smart. I love you guys. To see how you can use this on your animals, on your children, and on everything. And it's essential that we do. Look at this mom with 2 babies in trouble. The husband's in trouble. She's in trouble. She just didn't know it yet. I was thinking parasite M, kidney formula, lymphatic formula, right on. I'd add an endocrine gland formula in there too, because remember adrenals. And then also, some dogs have hyper or hypothyroidism. Your little chihuahuas, they're definitely hyperthyroidisms. Buggy eyes, the whole look. You can see the same problems humans get. I wanted to know if you had any other suggestions for Zeke diet, or I think the diet's pretty good. I would try to go less meats, more of the other. I have attached pictures of the growth on his side. Absolutely. Thank you, Patty. Absolutely, Patty. You old fella, you. Get your kidneys restored. Yep. Yeah, it's not a real big tumor or growth right now, so a nice drawing salve might take that right off of there. A Canex in here will do that quite nicely, but you can also pull that out through the kidneys and save that animal that way. Because you don't want to fix your kidneys anyway since he lives a long time. You want him to live long and healthy, right? My golden retriever lived to 15, and I didn't overly take care of him because, I don't know, it was just, I'm not overly good at that, really. One of my little things. I am trying to buy some of your products, but I don't know what to start. I'm going to list a few symptoms I have, and hopefully you can recommend some products. Well, you know what? This is Facebook, too, so let's look at this Facebook. Let's see what this person has. Who is this? I don't have a name on here. Number 1, around August last year, I started to have intense stomach pains. See all the stomach things going on? And remember, gastroparesis going on everywhere right now. Got paralysis of the stomach. Any light pressure on my stomach, ooh, even pants, would make it hurt. A cramp, oh my God. Well, interstitial lymphatic constipation, just like this other case we were talking about. The pain has subsided now, but there's still abdominal swelling and stomach bloat. Now, That's 24/7. He has stomach bloat. Is it stomach or colon or bowel bloat? You know, if it's bowel bloat, it's going to be below the xiphoid process here. That's going to be colon, small bowels. You could have sulfur built up in there. Take a picture of your eyes. See if you have orange there. Around the same time, my breathing became very bad because that's the stomach. That's the autonomic brain connected to your lungs, your heart, your bowels, everywhere like that. I am constantly hungry for air, and it has affected my sleep. Damn, man. You know what? You get that stomach tea, cool that stomach down, get all that inflammation going. Now, that's a topical hit, but it'll absorb through the wall of the stomach and help that acidosis. You got to get your kidneys filtering to pull all this stuff out. At the same time, though, think GI tract too. So you want to get, for me, I would do the GI broom, the stomach and bowel, a lymphatic capsule. Then I would do a lymph node tincture. I would do another kidney. I'd do a kidney capsule too, kidney 1 or so. Then I would do a kidney tincture. I would do an adrenal formula for sure, or an endocrine gland formula. I would probably do the brain and nerve formula just to enhance my nervous system a little bit while you're doing this. And get yourself on a raw food diet. Very important there. I would stay away from the acid fruits for a little while. Groin pains, itching, sharp pain, and slight swelling. Well, you're getting into kidney failure here. You're not moving your lymph. So if this is a male, you got prostate. It's a female, you could have ovarian cysts come and go. You're not going to be, your legs are not going to filter well. Your groin nodes are going to swell. I mean, this is all about lymph stuff. Everything you're saying so far. And then if you're a male, your testicles could swell. Just saying. 4, especially when I ejaculate, male, my groin pains increase, but also my lower back starts to ache. Well, I don't know. Have you ever had a PSA check? You might want to go check your PSA. It's a kidney problem, but that's a prostate. You know what? You got a lot going on down in here in the lower burner. You want to get your kidneys filtering, get their prostate cleaned up, pull your groin, your legs clean, your hips clean. Oh, yeah. This is not good, what you're telling me here. The lower back is the kidneys, of course. All this is just telling me that you're so inflamed that when you spasm yourself, you're feeling it all through you. 5, weak blood flow to penis, lower circulation. But lymph inhibits blood flow. So, lymph do lower circulation. That'll increase flow to the man cave there. Anything having to do with my Jimmy scares me to death. Yeah, no kidding. So you want to get to this. I don't know how old you are, but I'd get to this. And that is lower circulation. That'll help move blood aggressively all through the prostate, testicles, and prostate. At the same time, if you want to pull that clean, get that swelling out, which is inhibiting blood flow, you got to go through the lymph system. That's kidneys and adrenals. So get with that, man. And you got to do it because it's backing up here too. It's not just, it's not just backing up down below. It's backing up here. Anything having to do with, it's now become quite cold and stiff. Ow. Holy crap. Definitely lacks sensation. That's not good. I still think the brain and nerve will help you there, lower circulation, but your lymph system's chewing you up bad down there. This could be serious for you, man. You got to get yourself going, get a little winky going. I can't squeeze it like a stress ball and feel nothing. Uh-oh. That's not good, man. Well, you know what? You got to be careful because you could atrophy that little puppy away, or big puppy, either way. 6, parasite outbreak. A month after all this, I started getting scabies. Oh, my God. You know what, man? You need to really get into your body and clean it out and deworm yourself. I'd do a month of parasite M&G and get aggressive with it. Hell yeah. Doctor gave me ointment, but now they're beginning to come back. You better look in your house, look in your bed, look all around, man. I'd be cleaning everything. Last week I started getting ringworms. and I have, which is not worms, remember, and I have a big one on my elbow, intense brain fog. You are backed up big time, heavy fungal, everything else, guys. So spend a month deworming yourself in all ways, parasite M and G. At the same time, get into those kidneys and lymph, lower circulation, brain and nerve. Start turning on, start warming up, start getting everything going. Or you could lose little winky or big winky. Immense brain fog, upper circ, lower and upper circ. I do both of them. If you can afford. I'm 19 years old. What? You're 19 years. I thought I was talking to a 40 or 50-year-old. Oh my God. 19 years old, bro. Bro. No. Fix this now, son. Got to fix this now. You don't wait. Fix this now. 19. If I could boil all of these symptoms down to some kind of condition, but I don't know if any of these are, they're all connected. They're totally connected. Every one of them, totally connected. You were right on in your thinking. I was thinking of starting with the Fab 4. Oh, I think I'd get a lot more aggressive. You're in trouble, son. You know that. If you can squeeze a little winky and you don't feel nothing, you're in trouble. And you're feeling that groin pain, you get yourself out of trouble. You lose your hips, you lose your lower back. I mean, I can go on forever. We don't need negativity. We need positivity, and that means you got to get yourself moving on this. If you need help, call in here for that. But please respond with exactly what I need to cure myself. Much appreciated. Well, these are the things that I would do. Under the club, we can recommend whatever. But these are public videos, at least for now. And so I have to tell you what I would do. And, of course, this isn't about treatment. This is about getting in and rebuilding and cleaning. And you're only 19, so that tells you already have low adrenals and kidneys. And now you're really seeing the symptom from that. If your dad or your family had prostate or female, it could be a kick to the prostate. Get your eyes and take a look at what you're up against. That'd be the one thing I would do. But you're all backed up all through you. So you get on this. You get on your raw. You get on your detox. If you need help, go to the Facebook site, Friends of Dr. Morris, and have them help you there. We help you here. There's a help everywhere now. But this is serious, and you want to deal with this. Not to scare you. Please don't read any names. All right. I have a question about my child, 19, who is a transgender. People feel this is because of an abusive father. People have many opinions. Yeah, don't they, though? You know, from the spiritual viewpoint, I've often thought that some souls meet tragic ends to where they're yanked out of their body faster than they can identify with. And I've seen this to where they're pulled right into another incarnation and they're still living the other one. So I don't know, I don't get into that psychological crap of father. Kathy, who was my personal assistant for years, was heavy into that because she ran a huge, I won't say a daycare. It was all special needs and all this, and they were heavy into the father and the mother causing all the problems. And everything is caused by that to some of these people, and I just disagree with that. When you see a human, you see a very integrated, complex being. A being that starts out as consciousness, that takes on individualized bodies to experience life in creation, a life of duality at most levels. Whether one can feel the duality or not at these higher cosmic consciousness levels, you don't, but they're still there. But it doesn't matter in that way whether a person likes a male, a female, or whatever. I mean, this is all about just souls experiencing. But you have a complex being. A soul comes on, goes through many, many journeys throughout all types of soap operas, all types of pain and suffering, and all types of joy. God does it to itself that way. And every one of you have done this. It's just a lot of you now had enough in the playground, and it's time to become conscious again. Outside of that, we become unconscious to play the game. Because the more conscious you become, the game becomes less appeasing to the nirvanic experience of consciousness. So to keep yourself away, because anybody had out-of-body experiences, and a lot of you have, notice that coming back isn't so joyful. The experience, anybody had lucid dreams. When you're out of the body, it's more real than here in the physical world. So when you're with the closer to consciousness you get, the more real life feels. And this feels like a distant dream. If your attention is totally focused in this world, it feels real. But as soon as you start pulling your attention out of your bodies and pulling it back to yourself, which is in the now consciousness, then you start to see more and know more because you're less focused into the bodies. Whenever you're focused, that energy turns on life where you're focusing. You're bringing the consciousness and the power to turn on the switch. So that part of creation lights up and you get to experience it. Then you turn off the switch by turning your attention over to somewhere else. If you so choose emotionally to pull that experience along with you, that's your karma. You carry it along with you. And you're going to rechew that and rechew that until you let that go. It's already dark and stored in the Akashic records. But people carry things with them. So I'll say this. Everyone needs to get healthy. So you go into the adrenals, that's your emotional components. You get into your parathyroids, that's your lack of love of yourself. You know, all the hormones and steroids are all out of whack in people. So you can have a male with high estrogen levels. He's going to think more female. A female with high testosterone levels are going to think more male, and you see all these differences. So the big issue is getting yourself into a state of balance, whatever that means. It's enough to say that this individual, this transgender, that was essential for that soul's experience. And you have to accept that because that's why that individual's having the experience. And there's nothing bad or good about it. Man judges as man judges. You know, that's a social consciousness. That's what's kept man from experiencing higher things, is he judges everybody all the time. We see it on this side even. And you can't judge. You have to understand that you're in the place you need to be in this moment for your journey, or you wouldn't be here. And it's that simple. And you can't look at it in any other way. And the same thing with this case or any other case like that. It's just that you offer the opportunity as a way shower to help any of these souls that feel like they're out of balance to pull themselves in balance. I'm not saying that that's an out of balance condition. It's an experience. And experience is just that. It's an experience. Everything you experience is just an experience. If you carry that experience with you, you can't experience new experiences with the total joy it would be because you're carrying the old experiences with you. See what I mean? So spiritually speaking, by living in the now is you play, you drop, just like a child. You might fight with a friend and then the next time you hug and kiss them. You don't carry things with you. That's the emotional body. That's the mind, the causal world, the Akashic records, dealing with the time track, past, present, and future, so to speak. Is there a popular medical theory about why transsexuality? Well, if you were going to nail it to chemistry, you'd nail it to steroid imbalances. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know if you could go to the pituitary and pick anything up there, but it's not a negative experience. It's an experience. Because we can't judge from a higher consciousness whether it's bad or good. It just is. Now, you hear me rat off on medicines and pharmaceuticals and all the deaths and everything else, and yes. But there's another side of me that looks at that and says it just is what it is for what it needs to be at this level of growth of the human consciousness. Remember, the human consciousness is not an old consciousness. This is a fairly new, immature consciousness. And then you know, there was a show the other day showing about visiting. This is NASA's. They had a show on TV called NASA's Secret Tapes, or something like that. And it showed what these astronauts and all these different UFOs and things that have been filmed and what they thought about them. I thought it was quite interesting. Very, very interesting. And they suspected that we have visitors that don't land because of the violence on the planet. And this is true. This has been known in spiritual circles as a very worrying planet. So your love people don't really want to stop too much here. So, is it a mental issue? I will love and support the individual no matter what. Thank you, because this is just a soul experiencing life at a different level. It's only religions that have made us judge. Some false concept of purity that man and a woman, or this is the only thing in life. Give me a break. Look at nature. Nature doesn't judge like that. Males get together, women get together in nature, in all species. So we judge the ridiculous of things. These are just experiences. Soul is the consciousness of God. That's what's important. God's just experiencing itself in all levels. So who cares? One day you won't have a physical body anymore. You'll have another body of another creature or another individual that's not human-like. What about then? See, so you can't judge whatsoever. This person is experiencing just what they came here to experience. And they need support with that. If the person wants to get healthy and it's a steroid problem and they don't like their feelings, then they can change them. But if they enjoy where they are, that's why they do, because they're here to experience that level. That's just God experiencing itself. I'm sorry. You know, a golden retriever one time, a male, and I don't like any collars or anything on my dogs. Sorry. So I always just let him roam, because he never went anywhere. He'd roam around the neighborhood, come back, just like the old days. Neighbor came over one day and said, could I love Beastie and all that was the name of him. I love Beastie. My son named him after the Beastie Boys, of course. And but my dog's anus, who he had another male golden retriever, was getting real sore. But I worry because it is such a hard path to travel. It is, and you know why? It's not. It's because of our society. It's because of judgmental attitudes. It's because of our society thinking there's some kind of purity out there that God wants us to live by and stuff. Are you kidding? It's an insult to God. God's here to experience as many different levels as it can. To not see that is a real shortcoming for man. I refer to this child as her for present and him for when she was a child. You know why? It don't matter. She says he always felt this way. No, you know what? I totally, just what I'm saying here, and I won't read too much of this. That's just my opinion. See? And she doesn't get spirituality. It has nothing to do with religion. All right. She refuses to be spiritual because religions condemn who she is. I don't blame her. Do you? And that's the thing. I tell you. And it's just that little thing I read to you the other day, that the Bible was written over 1,500 years by 44 people. The Word of God. You guys, listen. You guys are the Word of God. You're the living presence of the all. How do you think it experiences life? Just watches through your eyes? You're the soul, you're the piece, you're the chunk of consciousness of the all. And if you sell yourself short, it's only because religions are selling short, because they don't get it. Most religions were created by man, guys, and every one of them has slaughtered each other over that. When you slaughter over someone over God, time to go. So now first it was Christianity, now it's Islam. Everybody's slaughtering everybody because you're either infidels or you're something else. Or in Christians, you don't have God because you don't believe the way we do. I'm sorry, but this kind of thinking has got to kind of slowly go away, guys. Love each and every individual. If you feel your faith is perfect for you, then fine. Live it, love it. But if it doesn't include love for all life, you're selling yourself short. Because you love thy neighbor no matter what, as thyself. Because that part of them is, their bodies are different, their emotions are different. They might be a real bitch or a bastard or whatever. Absolutely. You got to look through that. That's their bodies. Who are they as soul? See the beauty of the soul within the individual. See the God within everyone, and that'll be the best religion you could ever have. The old Rumi effect. You see God in every little atom there is, because then you would be seeing correctly. You live, we all live and dwell and live within the body of God. You can't have anything outside of the all. omniscience and omnipresent, omnipotence. You can't have anything outside of something that's total. It's impossible. So spirituality, she has to learn that spirituality. This is why religions don't like spirituality. Because it's new agey. Oh man, when Eckhart first came on, Churchill came on, he was slaughtered by Christianity. I still have a lot of that. And we fought back hard and vigorous. And then you had people writing different things to cut people and things like that. What you want to do is see what this individual has to offer you. Because it's you that's making the journey. You want to see what that individual has. Because every individual has a key for it. There's something for you. A little Johnny Appleseed, a little something there for you. That's the beauty of everyone coming together and acting as one. You know, this planet is really bad. And it's bad because of all these things, of the division that we have. My belief's better than yours. I'm better than you. I'm white, you're dark. Da-da-da-da-da. That's insane stuff. But it shows you how low the human consciousness has been. For so long here, it's like, oh my God, it's claustrophobic to the spiritual people. Your daughter or male, whichever, who cares? Needs to become spiritualized. They'll love themselves. Who cares what the sexual preference is? Who cares? And even who cares what diet? If you want to look at spirituality, you look at the beauty of all things, not the negative side of things. This individual is painfully thin and takes hormones and was wondering your thoughts on taking them. You know, I'm totally against hormones. She's probably taking steroids. And I'm totally against all that because this will wreck the adrenals, wreck the pituitary. This is not good in how you do this. You don't need to become that. If you feel that, enjoy it. But don't try to transform the body too much or you could wreck yourself. And that, you know, it's just not going to be healthy or happy. And if you like transsexual, then enjoy that. And enjoy it with the body you have and make the body you have healthy. Because if you destroy your adrenals, which is where your estrogen, testosterones are finally, you're going to destroy your kidneys. You destroy your kidneys, your lymphs are going to happen. Then your lymph is going to happen. Then you're in line for lymphomas. You see that whole chain of problems. This child was depressed. Aha! Key, right? Depressed. What gland are we talking about here? I heard all of you answer that. God, you guys are too good for your shoes. Yeah, you want to hit that individual's parathyroid gland. That's what I'm saying. They don't see that. They don't appreciate themselves in the moment. Parathyroid gland, adrenal glands, always get into that. She was depressed until she left for college. She is brilliant and got an academic scholarship. Why would that have anything to do with her sexual preferences? She was suicidal in high school. Oh, man. You want to get the fungus and all this out of this individual as well, my dear. Because a group of kids at school found out she was, and they did something to him or her that was very bad and caused her to leave. You know, we live in a sick world. And I don't know what to tell you about it. Just that if you're the mama or the daddy, unconditional love, man. We all need to learn unconditional love. That's divine love. It loves all that it created, no matter what. That's the whole idea of life is, you know, the only reason you're having anything in your life is experiences. And experiences are a dime a dozen. You can have them anywhere, any place, anytime. They're all over the place. Which experiences do you want to pull to you and have in your life? Oh, souls, I never experienced that. I think I'll go do that. Remember, I've told you, I've conversed with souls that have never been here before, never had a physical experience. For those of you that never have, come join us. This child can see auras. Yeah, baby. I think this child of yours needs to accept her divinity and come into that, because if she sees auras, that's too cool. So yeah, come into her own happiness, her own joy, or his. Who cares about his, hers, you know? But I can too. Oh, I can too, but not so detailed. I'm a liking you guys already. And spirits. Disembodied souls, shall we say? You know, people get freaked out with spirits and ghosts and all these things. It's just disembodied souls. I mean, physically disembodied, but you got other bodies to use, guys. Other bodies to use. The shock of it can keep you kind of in between the worlds. And spirit. He was very sick around 9. See, this person has had kidney, adrenals, lymphatics. They pumped him full of meds, of course. That's when a Reiki woman told me he was very toxic and that he sees the energy around people. I left the conventional medicine unless totally necessary. He seems to get physically sick if he was around very sad, negative people or crowds. It's because this is a brilliant soul, maybe a tender, loving soul, you know. And you know, this isn't a world for tender, loving people so much, is it? But you get strong, and you still maintain your tender, loving care. But you can be strong, but keep that tender, loving care. There's nothing wrong with being strong and protecting yourself and keeping the tender, lover care, right? My energy showed him that I was. This kid knows when people are dying. God, this is one aware child, man. I would promote that. The health of the body and spirituality. Who cares about anything else? Right? Everything else is just, oh, I experienced that. That was cool. Now I'll try something else. Okay, that was cool. Just like we change peoples, you know. Now that's, she is away. She will only call when I am not well because she knows, man, that's something. Also, she astral travels a lot. There's a lot deeper. She needs to go deeper. Get into the traveler, not so much the traveling, remember? This is a very big burden to see everyone's stuff. Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's why I don't. I stopped. I won't even go there with mind control because I won't tell you what I was able to do with my mind. So I quit. That freaked me right. I decided I never was going to interfere with another person's life ever again because, you know, there's a point you can make people do whatever you want them to do, and I don't want any part of that. Bad karma. Don't want that. So I choose not to do that. I choose to take care of myself and to give that love out to everything else, which made her isolated. So she has to learn how to deal with seeing that stuff, honey. She needs to talk to a spiritual person. She needs to come and talk to us on the YouTube or something about spirituality and these things, and to give us a conversation piece to talk to everyone about it. Because don't make it a burden. Don't make these things a burden. Understand who you are and your bodies and how all this is. And that these are aware souls, and we're going to have a lot more aware souls. So most of you are highly spiritualized souls. So these are, in your awareness, are just going to keep peaking and keep growing and keep awakening. That's so exciting for us. I love it. That's why we're here, guys. And this is just another beautiful light in the dark jungle here. She started smoking pot for depression. I don't know. Pot is a little neurotoxic for that, which I am unhappy about. I don't care about the pot. Tincture it or something, but work on her parathyroid gland. That's a depression. Start bringing her gland. Get her body alive again. This is a brilliant living soul with a body that's not compatible with that. Get that body compatible with that energy, and she'll be able to do miracle things with that. Any insight on this very touchy subject? Not touchy for me. I love you guys. You guys are doing well. And yes, I get a little passionate about things. And I'm going to have to, I'm going to read this last one, and then I'm going to have to cut this. Oh, here's another one. I am a 19-year-old mother of an almost 1-year-old. Oh, honey. I am a raw vegan myself. Yeah. And would love to raise my child raw as well. I am still breastfeeding and giving him only fruits. Yeah. I would give him coconut milk too, boy. That really makes a big difference too. How long do you recommend breastfeeding for? Really not much over a year myself. Tell you the honest truth. Not really much over a year, because by the time 6 months comes, they're going to be chopping on the fruit. Even if they're just fucking them, they're going to be chopping on the fruit, the coconut milk. So if you're real toxic in the body, your lymph system's backed up, you're not producing real high quality milk, well, I'd move them right away to that. And how much fruit should a toddler or a young child be eating? I don't know. I don't know. My grandson eats when he's hungry. He'll walk around with a grape stem, picking the grapes and eating them. When he's done, he just sets them down. He goes back when he wants more. We develop intuitiveness to eating. No, you have to sit down and eat your supper. That's not good. Intuitive eating, that's better because you eat when you're hungry. Now, we just talked about that earlier, and some people like regimented thinking and eating and everything else. But truly, you never eat until you're hungry, right? Well, it's not time. I got to eat anyway. It's my time to eat. No, 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 no. This is and same thing. My grandson will go into the kitchen and pull a big banana and suck it down. Pretty soon, I don't have any bananas left. And I tell a lot of bananas in my house. People are quick to judge when I tell them I want to raise him. Yeah, quick to judge. Well, I'll tell you this. You cannot get more nutrition from any other food source. So they just don't know that. There's no better food source of nutrition than raw, and there's no better food source than ripe fruits and berries. See, this is a primo of the primo, and then coconut. Look at all the books written on the coconut now. We were just talking about that when we started this with Drew, about the coconuts. And let me tell you, book on book on book, I've always considered them a major food. That I'm still breastfeeding. There is little to no information out there on how to raise a vegan child. This is Erwin. Erwin? E-R-I-N. Erwin. Well, sweetheart, all I can say is, I think at about 6 months to a year, if you're, the thing is, if your baby's getting colicky and a lot of mucus on breast milk, I think it's time to move him to the fruits and the coconut milks. Because if he gets too much colicky mucusy, his lymph system or her lymph system's getting built up bad in the body. And that, when you have that kind of problem, that means that the milk is getting hard to digest. Probably more, could be liver gallbladder, could be pancreas. More liver gallbladder, though, because milks tend to be more rich in lipids. So, yeah, you know, I would think about moving them, coming. I don't know, how old are you? Oh, 1 year old. Oh, yeah, I think you're ready. I think the child should be walking around with bananas in the hand right now, and a handful of grapes in one hand, a banana in the other. And some coconut milk with that. And just go on down that line with that. You have a real strong baby. In a child, you would never give vegetables to a baby. That's first and foremost. First, adults hardly digest them, let alone babies. You wouldn't give green drinks to babies either, my opinion. You would give fruits. Mother's milk is more consistent with organic fruits and berry chemistry than it is with vegetable chemistry. Sorry. Take a look at that. So anyway, that's what I would do. I'm going to have to cut off here real quick, unfortunately, but have fun raising your child raw, honey, because that's what needs to happen. And you're a great mom to do that. Love you. Great mom right there. 19 years old, got it down, going to have a good, healthy baby. If not, you get trapped in the medical mania, and that is nothing ever good comes of that. I'm telling you. Robert. My man, I have a few questions as I am trying to detox to get my life back. I have sent you an email earlier this week, but this one is going to be a bit more positive. Oh, good. I like positive stuff. Oh, maybe is that the one I just answered? I'm a 21-year-old living in Alaska. I think I just answered that. I took a drug called Accutane. No, I just answered that one. I answered that one. So, thanks so much again for all your love and your support. I know I throw it out there sometimes, but I tell you, I think we have to start getting real with life and love and beauty and experience and this judgmental attitudes people have and all this stuff out there. We have to leave it because it only builds bitterness between humans, and there's no reason to. We want to build love between the species. Not bitterness and anger and you're bad and I'm good syndromes and stuff like that. And it's going to take all you guys to help us to do this. Because religions and spiritual teachings have had their turn and haven't seemed to help. So what's perfect is that man screaming for health. He's lost it so much with the pharmaceutical companies, with the medical thinking, with the treatment concepts, and with the diets. So all these things have taken man's health down to hellville. It's up to us to bring them up to Wellville. So that's what we're doing. So I love you all. Have a great afternoon or morning whenever you get this. And thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Thanks for all you new subscribers and all you new people too. Have fun with this. I'm a little radical, but let's have some fun with that. All right? Bye-bye now.